We still got Katyuska to get here, but I see she's online now. Let me give her a DM. Yeah, how's so Gibbs, can I just ask you while we're here? Have you seen a lot of traction from your Tim Pool appearance? Did you get a lot of bumps or what?
Muted.
From like 48 people on YouTube, like to like 1,000 something overnight. And I mean, I have had there's a lot of like clips, I guess, because I'm not really big on TikTok because I've been waiting to see if the Trump ban is going to go into effect or not. But you're right, like, because it's like, if it go, I don't want to start putting all my effort in like doing all the clip farming
And
if
it's just gonna get
it just be
yeah.
wiped, right? And plus, like, Vine's about to drop, right? And Vine is, I don't know, it's got a lot of hype, right? So I've been just like saving the clips, but I've been getting a lot of people like sending me clips from places and stuff. Like, oh, I saw you on whatever. So I'm like, yeah, I guess it's got more traction than I thought it did. So I mean,
Beautiful.
yeah, I got a lot of hype. How about you? Have you had a lot of?
I didn't get 1,000 subscribers, but I got like 200 or something from it on YouTube. And I got invites to a couple other places, right? The
Yeah, well,
Raging
that too.
Tomato
Yeah.
person and a couple other places, but
Nicely done. Nicely done. Good for you.
yeah. So that was fun.
I didn't finish that panel, but I heard some people like lobbed a few bits of grenades in your direction though.
Look, it was interesting. It was fun. I enjoyed it. It was they weren't as prepared as they probably should have been. But they like to go to the insults, right? They're like, "Oh, you're bald, or you're fat, or you're this, or you're that."
Well,
But
I think it's funny that that's like a real thing, like in like the Twitch pool blood sports area, because what they're not, people are generally not that good at it in this area, right? Like, if I'm just being honest, like I'll come on these shows and people will get mad and they'll say something right to me, and this will be like on on a panel, right? And they'll cook me once, and I'll like let it go. I'll say something like light back, and they'll cook me again. I'm like, okay, so we're gonna do this game, and then I'll cook them hard. And then all of a sudden they're like, "You're the bad guy because you roasted me too hard." And I'm like, "I'm sorry. I come from Halo, and after I did Halo, I did roast shows. Like, that's my background, right? Like, where you just go and you literally roasting people based off their appearance, based off what you see. And then I come to Twitch poll, and people will be arguing about like points. And then I guess if they don't like you, they search your point. They try to roast you. And I'm like, okay, if you're gonna do this, you need to go practice. Like, it's just like anything. You're like, "Oh, you're fat, cool, bro." What you should have said is like, "Hey, you look like Majin Buu wearing that pink shirt," or "Hey, you look like whatever." Like, use something original. Don't be like, "You're fat." Oh, you're stupid. All right, cool, bro. You have a DeBriger degree. Like, that's a better one. Like, you're stupid. You have a DeBriger. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, what? Hey, wow, bro, you're real Einstein. I'm glad your ITT Tech degree is doing good for you. Like you're not gonna, like, you gotta hit them with something good back. Like, don't be like, "You're a dumbass." I don't know.
But
I mean, insulting
It was
people is an
fun.
art form, though, right? I mean, it's a
Exactly.
true art form.
Exactly.
That's never happened between us, Gibby. All the time we've never had those fallouts, have we?
Never, not once.
No, not once.
Not
no.
once. So I don't know where Katyuska is. Hopefully she gets here. If not, I'll just have to.
She should be here.
There she is.
Speak of the
She's
devil. Speak
Yeah.
of the devil herself.
Yeah, I was just talking to her. She should be here.
Yeah, I thought so.
I was, I just had to update Discord because, when you don't update it, sometimes like the audio gets a little bit not good.
I
Yeah,
understand.
it freaks out.
So okay, it's 6:00. I'm gonna give you guys a rundown. Then we're gonna start this show. So basically, I will say hi to my audience. I will introduce the topic, and then we will just give it each of you for, and I stress this, brief introductions, brief opening statements. Any questions before we go live?
No. Good.
Okay, let's do this thing. Okay. Welcome, one and all. Oh, isn't it a beautiful day? It's a beautiful day, gang. We have a wonderful show for you today on WIC TV, a cross-ideological space where we come together to talk about issues both political and cultural, from the silly to the serious. Tonight's topic, Pete Hegseth, the Secretary of Defense. He's come under fire once again, allegedly, talking about classified info in a Signal chat with his wife and brother. Or so the leakers allege. The question becomes, should Pete Hegseth resign from his position? Is he doing a good job? Why or why not? Should he be fired if he refuses to resign? We got some great people to talk about it. We got some great guests, and so welcome to the show, and let's get this going. Let's give it first to Katyuska. Ladies first. Tell people who you are, why we should listen to you, and what are your thoughts? Go ahead.
Okay, so I'm Premier Katya on both X and Blue Sky. I don't stream right now, maybe one day. I am here to be on the side that he should absolutely resign because a lot of these issues have originated from him. Are we doing like full opening statements, or are we introducing them doing them?
Give us your opening statements. Yeah, give us what you got.
Okay, cool, gotcha. So basically, in this sort of situation, it was extremely obvious that this would be classified information. Like, there's literally no way that he could have been like, I did not know this information was classified. And he shared it on an unsecured group chat, and he apparently like had his office wired up with a separate computer so that he could even use Signal when it was previously blocked within that secure area. Generally, I mean, if we're going to have everybody follow these rules and regulations for keeping things safe and secure. Oops, I'm sorry, my audio is fucky wucky. Oh no, I'm sorry.
We can hear
Don't
you
know
fine.
what that's about.
Keep
Is my
going.
game fucked up?
You're fine for now. Keep going.
It fixed itself.
Right. Okay, so yeah, I mean, what was I saying? Okay, yeah. So, I mean, if these are rules that we expect everybody to follow, it should be followed especially by the people who have the most information. This alleged second group chat isn't just like alleged to have contained his wife and brother. It's supposed to also have contained his personal lawyer as well as another individual who it was escapes me. Yeah, basically just the first time, you could say that adding the reporter was an accident. And, even though he was using an insecure method, he was talking to people who had the clearance to hear it, or was you certainly can't say it about his wife, personal lawyer, and brother. So, yep. Anyways, next person, you can go. I'm sorry.
Okay, no, it's okay. Thanks for being here. Hopefully your audio issues get a little fixed up, and we'll get you going. Thank you. Next up, no stranger to my show, Admiral Gibbs. Give us what you got.
Yeah, I mean, this is a nothing burger. I mean, like if the Dems were really upset about this, I don't hate to do whataboutism right off the bat, but we're gonna do it. They would have fired Biden when he kept classified documents in his garage, and his crackhead hooker, dick sucking son would have when he was living there. They would have fired him for keeping him around near these classified documents. They don't actually give a shit about anything being classified, being leaked. They just want to bitch about something because all Trump is doing is winning, and this is the first thing they can grab hold on. I mean, Trump's put Hegseth in charge. Hegseth hit the gates running. He gave Panama an ass whipping, and Hegseth was a huge part of that. Sealed the deal, kicked China out of there. Big fan of that. The courts just ruled against their transgender surgery thing, but they did attempt to get rid of that. I mean, I don't know why my taxpayer dollars are going to surgeries for gender dysphoria in the military. That's fucking ridiculous. And I like the idea that a guy's going to listen to Doge. If you'd asked any left-leaning person 3 months or like 4, 5, 6 months ago, hey, should the Pentagon and the defense budget be cut and looked at and maybe find ways, they would have all said yes. And then when Elon recommends this to Doge and Pete Hegseth works on it and starts cutting things, all of a sudden, loaded, it's terrible. And then they want to bitch about the Signal chat. Yeah, this is a whole misnomer. It's all linked peer-to-peer. It's encrypted. Oh no, he told the wife that he was going to fry some Houthis. Sounds terrible. Oh no, his lawyer, who's already got required to keep confidentiality. Oh no, not as it said. I'm Admiral Gibbs, if you like all that.
Okay, well, thank you for being here. We'll get into it as we go. Next up, it's been a while, but he's been on my show before. Alex Kirsh, go ahead. Give us what you got.
Well, first things first, thank you so much, Wick, for having me on. And I want to say thank you to Admiral Gibbs, Grid, and Katya for being on here today. So the situation regarding the Signal leaks about the Operation Yemen involving members of the current administration, to include Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth, is without a doubt troubling. Not just because it happened, because of how nonchalant he is acting about it. He insists it's not his fault, that it didn't happen. Leakers are being filed while the rest are anonymous, disgruntled employees, yada, yada, yada. First things first, we know for a fact that classified information was leaked out on a Signal chat. Not even up for debate. Multiple people were on the chat. National Security Advisor accidentally added a news reporter, so That's already strike one. Now, we're getting reports that Hegseth also sent this classified material on a separate signal chat to people that have no clearance whatsoever, to include his wife, his attorney, and his brother. Now, I don't know if his brother's been vetted and whether he has a classified, but that doesn't really matter because Signal is not a secure server, essentially, okay? Now, Hegseth should never have shared this classified material on an encrypted server or on Signal chat, okay? And I want to break down why everything that was put on there was classified. It gave times of aircraft departure, weather favorability, the aircraft and the drones to be used before the operation took part. Lieutenant Cruz, is the director of the DIA, conceded during hearings that the following material was discussed on said Signal chat. Weapon systems and times were included before the operation was even conducted. When operations take place before they happen, they are done on secret classified servers and channels or locations. Sometimes they are done in places known as a SCIF, which is a sensitive compartmented information facility, where you cannot even take your cell phone inside of. The military has, and I have no doubt the White House has many places similar to this. You cannot disclose operations that you discussed on secret classified materials onto materials that are not secret or unclassified, and to parties that have no clearance. Anyone who has had a clearance, like myself, you would know this. Finally, it has been confirmed that the CENTCOM commander, General Michael E. Kurilla, that used a secure line to the SecDef on these times when the targets of Yemen would be hit. That is inarguable. To say that this is complete innocent is absurd. To say that nobody would be hurt, just to say that because nobody got hurt is absurd. Nobody has to get hurt and for this to be a big deal. Now, General David Petraeus, a former CENTCOM commander, is believed to have leaked classified materials to his mistress. He was not authorized as material. He was punished and forced to resign from his position. Chelsea Manning leaked to WikiLeaks classified material and spent time in prison for it. Jack Teixeira leaked classified material on Discord, and he was recently sentenced to 15 years in prison for this. At a minimum, Pete Hegseth has proven he is incapable of being SecDef and needs to resign immediately.
Okay, thank you for being here. Appreciate it, and we'll get into it, I'm sure, as we get into this show. Last but certainly not least, Grid Motorsports. Give us what you got.
Yeah, I'm Grid One Motorsports. You can find me at an Unreasonable Man on YouTube. I do have a Twitch, but I never use it. I'm sorry, it sucks. So I don't all that stuff that Alex just said. None of that's exactly accurate, and he knows it. I know it. We all know it. The actual truth of this specific incident, and we'll get into the earlier incident too, I'm sure, but this specific incident, there's no proof of anything. There's not even any proof beyond Hegseth himself saying, "Hey, yeah, I sent my wife a text on Signal. There was nothing classified in it." The only reference we have to it is someone who is not authorized to even know about it, complaining to NPR. That is in itself absurd, but okay, we'll go with it just for the sake of the argument. We don't know what was said because nobody knows except Hegseth. And this is actually one of the things that really pisses off the DoD staffers is they can't read his mail like they can everywhere else. The DoD hasn't been able to crack Signal. It is absolutely encrypted, and they know it, and they hate it. They hate him for using it because he can keep his plan secret. Also, he probably this is probably going to end up boiling down to, "Hey, honey, I'm going to be home. Don't wait dinner. I might be home around 8 or 9. I got to smoke some Houthis first." And so we don't know, and that's where we're at. And we're going to get into a lot more, but from this moment forward, let's do the battle, man. Let's go.
Okay. I guess to start off, so thank you all for being here. Honestly, if you're going to enjoy this content, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button if you're on YouTube, hit the follow button if you're on Twitch or Kick. But I guess to start off, just to get a temperature check, and see where everyone's at. Let's talk about the first Signal chat, the one where the reporter was added to. Do we all agree that, or I guess I'll ask it this way. Was the information that Hegseth sent out about the Houthis in that Signal chat classified or not? What do we think?
Yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
Oh, in the first one?
In the first one,
Yes.
yes.
Who determines what's classified?
There's general
The DoD,
standards.
the ODNI, they're the ones that make that determination.
So that'd be what, Hegseth and
Trump.
and Trump, right? Is that so? Just to be clear.
And also people and also like forward commanders, they're the ones that send out, because like I said in my opening statement, the CENTCOM commander actually sent this over a secret server. It's not up for debate. He literally sent this over a secret server.
Okay,
it was communicated to the Secretary of Defense.
Fine, he can do that, and then Hegseth can say this is no longer classified. Anybody can say it. But let's just allow that it is classified. Who set up that meeting via Signal?
It was what's his face? The other guy.
It was the staffer,
what's his
correct?
name?
It was and somebody that should have known better, but didn't for whatever reason. Hegseth didn't actually set that up, did he?
I don't know if he did or didn't.
That'd be an important thing to know, right? Like that would be an important piece of information.
No, he didn't set it
Who
up.
created the group chat? The person who created
Well, it
the group
matters
chat
quite a
was
bit.
Michael Walls.
It doesn't
Right,
matter,
Michael
actually.
Walls.
Right, Michael Walls, but the thing is that like Michael Walls answers to Hegseth, and I mean, if you have that sort of power over somebody, you do have some responsibility for what people below you do, and you have the responsibility to be like, "Whoa, we can't be talking."
And Hegseth acknowledged.
Let me ask you a question: If I work for a law firm, right, and say, and this is a real life example that I'm going to use. Say the boss screws up, and I don't catch their mistake. Right? And I'm the person who's supposed to make sure that all the mistakes are good before they go out. Whose fault is it? Is it the boss's fault? Sure. But it's actually my fault. Same thing if I'm making the group chat. It's my fault that I added these people because the boss trusted me. Yeah, maybe the boss has some responsibility to hire that person, but if anybody should be fired, it's not him, it's Walls. So I don't really, this is a pretty weak argument that we have going on
It's
here.
not a weak argument.
No, my argument
actually
was
fired
that
two
wasn't my
people over
argument.
that. So Hegseth did the right thing, and he said, "Hey, look, you set this meeting up. You did it wrong. I can't have somebody like that on my staff." And he did the right thing. So is that a problem for you? I mean, can you not admit that?
We are completely missing the point here. Okay,
I think you're missing the point. I would just like you to admit that if somebody else does something, you can't do. You can't hold.
It does not matter. It does not matter, sir. You have to understand something. You can't. It's Secretary of Defense Hegseth that put the classified material, the material that is classified because the operation hadn't even kicked off yet. That is classified at that point. You cannot take that information and put it on an unclassified server. You can't do that. That is breaking the law. It doesn't. There's no other way to
He's the one that
swing it.
determines what's classified, though.
Right.
You keep coming back to this thing that doesn't exist because Hegseth is the one that literally determines this is classified and that isn't. It's him. He's the guy. You keep saying things that don't matter because he's the guy. It's just like using Signal app. Just like using the Signal app. And I understand why all the staffers are pissed about the Signal app because they want to read Hegseth's mail. They've been able to do it to every Secretary of Defense for a long time now. Read all the emails. This is what the DoD does. And also the Pentagon. But we'll just stick with just calling it the DoD for general purposes. This is what they do. They want to know everything about everybody and have dirt on everybody. But they can't with Hegseth because of Signal. And so they're pissed. They're pissed about that. And they're going to continue to hedge and push against the use of something that they can't spy on. They can't.
It's really crazy to me
how. Let Gibbs go and then Katyuska.
It's really crazy to me, like how much they're objecting to this. I didn't see the lefties objecting to the use of Hillary's private email.
Whataboutism? We're not talking about Hillary.
Cool.
We're doing this again.
Hold on, we are doing this. We are doing this. It's called. Hold on. It's called.
What was the topic of discussion?
Hold on. Are you going to be finished? You can't even let me be
give him a second.
So the point that I'm making here is we didn't talk about, none of the people on the left cared about Hillary's email servers or private email servers. Nobody cared about Biden having these classified documents with his son who's smoking crack and sucking hookers' dicks next to it, right? We didn't care about none of that. But hold on. So we're going to hold this one standard for these guys, and then we're going to hold another standard for, hey, a guy whose staffer put the wrong person in there, and then, a guy that's talking to his family about stuff in a Signal app that they can't even prove what's in there. We're going to hold these standards equal. And then y'all are going to sit here and scream, ooh, whataboutism. But no, what this is called accountability and holding equal accountability. Y'all can sit here and say, well, these things were bad too, but there was no crimes persecuted on these people. There was no firing of Hillary. There was no firing of Biden. Biden, and yet y'all are sitting here screaming, we want Hegseth fired for something he really didn't even do. Like, I just, it's pretty crazy to me. And it really just shows that y'all have no backbone or no actual standards.
I want to give it to Katyuska, and then I'm going to let Alex respond. So Katyuska and then Alex, go ahead.
Right. So in response to Grid One Motorsports, even if Pete Hegseth could just declassify whatever he wants, and this is how it works, and this is perfectly accepted, then shouldn't we be asking him to resign because we have a head of the DoD who is making decisions that serve him but put service members at potential risk? Like, isn't that disqualifying that somebody is not doing their job to the point where they're putting service members at risk? And secondarily, towards Gibbs, yes, these people have, they've faced accountability in one way or another. For example, emails could have cost Hillary the election. I mean, I think that that's a bigger deal than being asked to resign. And it's not like we're saying that Pete needs to be thrown in jail necessarily. This is the debate on if he should be asked to resign / get fired. That's a different standard of evidence and a different standard of wrongdoing.
Can I respond to the first part?
Go ahead.
Okay, great. Just so we're clear, right? Just so we're clear. Hegseth is cleaning house, and they don't like it. And they're going to do everything they can to push back on this. We don't know that anyone was ever in danger. And by the way, the mission where the staffer added the reporter, literally the staffer invited the people. Hegseth didn't. Everybody keeps saying Hegseth put that guy in the chat. Hegseth didn't even know who that fucking guy was. And that is a lie. That's literally a lie. It's an untruth. He did not do that. And you keep maintaining that he did in fact do that, but he didn't. Yeah, sure. He put the material out there because everybody that was supposed to be in that meeting was supposed to be approved for it. You can't.
Not for Signal chat, no, but yeah. They were approved to hear the information, not in that channel.
Well, the Signal's more secure than anything else right now. Like literally, the DoD cannot break it.
Is that how we all have a record of what happened in that chat? Because
they have a record because the reporter who was added copied it, but the DoD cannot break the encryption on Signal. Period.
Right, but during the normal communication channels, the way that things are supposed to be done, you can't just have some rando just add another random guy he had in his.
But it has happened, has it not? Has it happened?
Has it happened? I mean, in what way?
Have random people been added into meetings that they are not supposed to be in?
Into meetings, I'm sure they've been added to shit that they can't be a part of, but not like a random person off the street.
All right.
There's a difference between somebody else in the DoD and some random freaking guy.
But it was the staffer that added it. Hegseth didn't. You keep moving past that part. Now, hold on.
If you make a massive mistake in front of somebody who is responsible for you,
mistake.
Because sometimes if you're in a supervisory position and you're there when it happens, the onus is on you to say, whoa, we need to not do this. We need to follow these rules.
He didn't even know who was in that meeting. It was a massive number of people in the meeting. Do you not understand? He doesn't know everybody in his chain of command. Just like when a general speaks to a group of people, he doesn't know every single officer.
All right, I got to step in now. Okay, so first things first. All right, so first things first, okay? I gave 2 examples already that I said were appropriate. The Chelsea Manning story, leaking WikiLeaks, military operations stuff, which was classified information, and Jack Teixeira leaked it on Discord. That is much more relevant than us talking about Biden or Hillary. I mean, we can even, if we wanted to still go whataboutisms all day long, I mean, we can go to town. I can even talk about General Petraeus, which I actually brought up. But I'm focusing on this matters because a military operation was getting ready to kick off. And I don't give a shit who set up the damn server. I don't care whether you're not supposed to take classified or secret material of an operation about to kick off and you put it on an unsecured server. I don't care how secure you think Signal is. It's not secret. It's not top secret. You don't put that information on there. You're briefed about this stuff in the military all the time. You're not even supposed to say where you are. That's called operational security. But they literally broke those guidelines. The ODNI made very clear policy about this. The DoD has this in a policy. It's even in an executive order that was signed earlier this year that you're not supposed to disclose any of this stuff, the equipment being used. And guess what? Now the Houthis are now keeping track of stuff that's coming to airspace. They're shooting down drones. Yeah, nobody got hurt. But it could have happened. But nobody has to get hurt.
I ask you once again, Alex, who designates what is classified and unclassified?
There's usually a hierarchy of who can determine whether
Who
it's
is
classified or
the guy?
unclassified.
The guy that does that? Is it the Secretary of Defense?
It can be the president, it can be the Secretary of Defense, but
Right.
did he declassify it?
And all right, so let's just say that the President of the United States, Donald Trump, said it's okay. What does that do for your argument, sir? Because now he said, "Hey, it's fine, it's cool," because I declassified it.
He didn't, though. That's the thing. They are
Well,
saying
we don't
this
know
is
that he
indicative-
didn't. We don't know that he did.
Why
Are you doing the he can
why-
psychologically declassify shit argument, really?
But the
No,
thing is,
we
like-
don't know. We don't know all of the private communications between Hegseth and
Okay,
the.
I have a
I-
question.
Oh,
Just
go
real
ahead.
quick, I have a question then.
Sure.
So, do you think, and this is to Grid,
And
do you
I'm
think
just
it
being
would be
a little bit
good
hyperbolic
thing-
here. So
Sure. Do you think, Grid, do you think it would be a good thing if the President of the United States, 2 hours before a military operation, had decided to declassify when that operation was kicking off, what munitions were being used, what weapon systems were being used? Do you think that would make the American servicemen who were involved in that operation more safe or less safe?
are we talking about? We're talking about the first operation, correct?
Yes, the
Yeah, okay.
first.
So here's my. I mean, just again, my viewpoint on it.
I'm just
If
assuming
either
I'm
we're
assuming
gonna.
if he
so
did.
we have to narrow
which
this
we have no
down a little
evidence
bit,
that he
right?
did,
Like
right?
I have no control. I have no problem sacking the guy that invited the reporter because he was on a fucking mailing list of people who had attended previous meetings. I have no problem saying, "Hey, you know what? You should have done your damn research." I got no problem with getting rid of that staffer because he doesn't know. He actually is supposed to know that. Hegseth just gives an order and it's supposed to be followed. So that problem, I don't have a problem with that part of it. My problem is that it's a signal. But he shouldn't have done it on signal. Hegseth as the Secretary of Defense can designate any system he fucking wants as being capable of holding classified material and in fact being classified. The only reason we don't even know how many times he's used it because it's that secure. And the Pentagon's all pissed off about this because they can't read his emails. You guys keep glossing over this. They can't even tell you. By the way, if it were unsecure, why don't we know exactly what was said the past
We do
couple
in
of
the first one.
days?
You're editorializing.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
I'm
you are
literally-
editorializing.
I'm literally
You're saying
making the
that it's
argument, and I'm
because they're
reiterating the
salty,
argument.
They're so
It's the same
triggered,
argument
they're
I've made the whole
mad.
time.
Yeah,
Let's-
they're not
let-
mad about it necessarily because they want to be able to read his emails. You're using
Correct.
that as
They
an
wanna-
excuse, and
they
that
wanna
is
be
you
able to read his mail.
editorializing.
It's
And
a
I'm
little
being
bit. It's a little
hyperbolic
bit
there.
that. It's a little bit that. But I mean, let's just go look at this, right? I mean, for example, let's just talk about the second one, right? So we've been talking about the first one. The second alleged one is that we get the information from a man named John. I'm going to butcher his name. Oliot, I guess is his name, right? That's the guy that put out the piece in Politico saying, basically, oh, he's been texting his wife and shit, whatever. And that's all we have. We don't know what he said. And we only have that he texted another signal chat with his wife and a lawyer and brother or whatever, allegedly, right? And they've already come out and said this guy's full of shit. He's just a anti-Trumper, yada yada, holdover from the previous administrations. And
That's not even
I'm
true.
well, sure, but I'm sitting here going, hey, I for one kind of believe them on this. Like, there's plenty of examples within just since he's taken over of holdovers and people that are working against him. Look at like USAID, right? What was their deputy guy saying? Shred until they can't stop shredding until you need to burn them or whatever. Like, have the burn bags ready. Like, and that's clearly somebody trying to slow them down. It's the same thing here. This looks like some kind of insider job where they're trying to hit him with a hit piece. It's a nothing burger, and they're just reaching for something because there's nothing of really real substance after he's already had major success with Panama, and he had success for the court shut him down with the stopping the transgender funding, and he's been cutting the agency, the military right now, cutting all the frills. He's been listening to recommended Doge cuts. These are all good things, and I for one am excited about that. And shame on y'all for trying to shut him down with a nothing burger.
Wait, so you're saying that, like,
You know what the hell
okay,
I'm
so
talking about,
he
though.
did something
Kate.
that could have put service members in danger, like literally, and he did something that is a complete flagrant, disregard for any type of classification, procedures and why they're even in place. And you're saying that, actually it's totally fine and we're just like inventing it out of nowhere. What? So like, because we're mad about like transgender surgery, again, that issue?
You don't know that.
What? That's
I mean,
insane.
I'm mad about it. I don't want my tax dollars going to that, for one. So, yes, I'm mad about it. And two, yeah, I mean, sure, could have put them at risk.
No, but you're saying that we're so mad about him cutting like transgender fund or whatever.
Let's just play
You're reading a lot into unknown.
We're gonna just get mad about.
No, I'll play your game. I'll play your game. Let's just say that 100% it could have put them at risk. I don't believe it could have, but let's just say, what percentage do you assign that first signal chat? What percentage amount do you think it allowed them to be at risk? Was it like 1% that someone was at risk? Do you think it was 100% somebody was going to be at risk? Like, what percentage do you think the Houthis had to act on the info that was allegedly in that first signal chat? What do you think?
Well, I think that greatly depends on, who the person is that was accidentally added the group chat. With this guy, he obviously didn't leak anything and he had integrity. So with this situation, the percentage was not high. But the problem is the 0%? Principle. That's fine. Less than 0? Less than 0?
Yeah, less than 0% the Houthis were able to act on.
I don't know if we can have negative percent here.
Well, yeah, I'm saying, okay, less than 1. So
okay, you can go with that one if you'd like to. But I mean, here's my thing, right? Like, we do things as a procedure for a reason. Like, if you just make excuse, oh, this time it didn't turn out bad. Oh, this time it didn't turn out bad. People don't have regulations, rules, like ways that things are done, SOPs, because it turned out like, this is how it turned out bad every time. Like, it's to prevent things from happening. If this becomes like a thing that he and other people just use, I mean, the problem that makes it not secure is that individuals can be added without being in the pool of people who have already been, been
let me ask the naysayers, okay? If Signal is so star-spangled awesome, what's the point of having secret servers then? What's the point? Why not just stick with Signal then?
I mean, that's a real good question.
Yeah, that's actually there's actually a bunch of good questions in there. First of all,
yeah, that's a real good question.
Are you asking why they don't do all of their business on an app that can't do all of their business? I mean,
well, hold on. You were a service member, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so you can tell me, and Wick was too. So y'all can tell me, what is the current process? Isn't there a machine that they have to use in their own homes to talk that's super inefficient and a pain in the ass to use? I can't remember what it's called off the top of my head, but isn't there one of those?
There's a couple different devices, yes.
Okay, so it's hard to use. It's not just something
it's
like
not hard to use.
Yeah, but it's a pain in the ass to use.
It's not a pain in the ass to use.
Okay, well, I've heard otherwise. But the point is, do you agree that technology advances?
Of course it does.
Okay, so if we have a new app like Signal that's peer-to-peer encrypted and does the exact same thing as this military tech, but better and with less of a pain in the ass, are you against advancing things to modern tech levels?
I'm going to bring you back to reality, Gibbs. It's not the same thing. It's not the same thing. It literally is not the same thing because Signal has a different level of encryption that is not nearly as sophisticated as secret and top secret information.
Why haven't they been able to crack it then?
Well, here's the thing. And also, we talk about this. If he legitimately thought, hey, these systems are so difficult to use, why doesn't he use this unlimited power that you're saying he has to go ahead and try to work towards developing a team to go and improve these situations within the DoD instead of just using it for himself privately? Okay?
Well, actually, he has been trying to implement it, but that's your.
What has he been trying to implement?
But that's a great question. So let me ask you, because this seems relevant. If Hegseth was going to root out a mole, a leaker, somebody like the 4 people he fired a week and a half ago for leaking stories to the press, how would he go about doing that?
What do you mean specifically? If he was
Are you saying that's what he did?
I'm asking you a question. How would he go about doing that? Because nobody knows what's in the text from this week or last week or whatever it was.
Well, why doesn't nobody know what's in the text? Why? Because they just said it wasn't secure. Here's the crazy part about Signal. Not only is Signal so secure, Biden, put it in the government to use it for some things, but it's so secure, not even Signal itself can read the messages because it's peer-to-peer encrypted. So you're telling me it's not secure when it sounds like it's even more secure than what we have currently.
It's not, though.
We're not.
What proof do you have of that?
No. What do you mean? What?
What proof do you have? Yeah, what proof do you have of it not being more secure?
Okay.
Other than when like it's a
Signal was
user
so-
lapse.
if Signal was so secure, then why didn't the Biden administration use secret messages on theirs? Why is it happening under
So
this
why does Biden
administration? Not the last?
administration do anything? I mean, that's a good
What?
question.
That's not what I asked. You need to answer
We
that
don't know
question.
that he
now.
did.
Yeah, yeah, we don't know that
We
he
know that he
Biden
didn't
approved-
do it. We
Biden
know that he
approved
didn't
it
do
for
it.
a lot of things.
How do you know that?
Okay.
But it wasn't to be used for secret and top secret information. I cannot
How do you
stress
know
this
that?
enough. You're not supposed to. This is
right.
DOD
If
policy.
it is
so-
secure,
It's
then
DOD
how do you know that?
So one of the problems that we're having here isn't so much that it's Signal that's insecure, but you know what is? People's personal
People.
devices.
There you go,
People's
Wick.
personal devices, and the fact that they were using their personal devices while in foreign countries such as Russia, right? In order to have this conversation means that as secure as Signal might be, their phones are far less secure and easily.
Well, that's
well, not
interesting,
easily, but
Wick,
easily
because
enough hackable.
because
Right? And if I
Biden.
may finish,
Go ahead.
right?
Here we go with Biden again.
This is
Biden.
why
Hold on.
there are
That's what he
policies
does.
in place. There are policies in place which prevent us, as someone who holds a top secret security clearance, from using our personal devices to communicate classified intel. Right? Secretary of Defense Hegseth knows this, and yet he chose to
Well,
do it anyway.
Well, it's interesting you say that, Wick, because under the Biden administration in 2024, CISA released a mobile communications best practice guideline for highly targeted individuals who were defined as high-ranking government officials or politicians who are likely to possess information of interest to threat actors. Specifically, Russia and China are mentioned. So the reason for that being is because of the security aspect to it. So if Biden and them are saying it's super secure, and it's specifically for people with high value information that these other foreign threats would want, that indicates to me that it sounds like a lot of bitching out of the left right now that is just crying because even Biden said this was the best practice.
So that's really cool.
look
But
at the-
my question is, what credentials do you have to, like, if you're logged into your phone, right? I have Signal on my cell phone. I'm logged into my phone. Like, I put in my password. What do I have to do to be able to send a message on Signal? Can I just click on the fucking app and I'm logged in? What? Do I have to put in another password every time? What?
Well, I'll tell you this, but I don't know. But I do know what CISA says, which they go on to
Not
say.
surprised.
No, I'm asking a question. That's great.
Hold on. CISA strongly urges highly targeted individuals to immediately review and apply the best practices below to practice mobile communications. Highly targeted individuals should assume that all communications between mobile devices, which is what Brick brought up, including government and personal devices and internet services, are at risk of interception or manipulation. While no single solution eliminates all risks, implementing these best practices significantly enhances protection of sensitive communications against government and affiliated other malicious cyber actors. The guide reads, referring to Signal. So y'all are just going against y'all's own procedures that y'all were just bitching about not being followed.
Go ahead, Grid. I got a question, but go ahead, Grid. You had to do something.
Yeah, I mean, we seem to be really focused on we seem to be really focused on the technology, and I just want to. I was going to kind of change a little bit, but I'm trying to. My chat's helping me out here. 1 second. It's AES-256 encryption is the like the top level, and I'm not really sure what all that entails. I don't use Signal because I have no reason to. Honestly, it doesn't really matter. I don't need to encrypt anything. But at the end of the day, you guys aren't really moving the needle for me that much because all you keep doing is talking about something that may have been said that was leaked by somebody that nobody knows who it is to NPR of all people. I mean, that's ridiculous in and of itself. And the past incident, which you keep talking about, but which has already been settled. Trump says it's a nothing burger. It's fine. Who cares? It's cool.
Oh, good for him.
And yes, good for him because it's his cabinet. It's his Department of Defense. You guys keep talking like that he's a grunt in the field, and he's not. He gets to make
he's
the
unfit
decision.
too. Fuck him.
He
what do you want me to say?
make the decisions. Hegseth gets to do this. It's not like a general, and that's probably what pisses the generals off. By the way, is that they're not him, and they're pissed at him because he's not a general, and
So
they
you
think
think
that he
just
should not
real
be
quick,
where he is.
So you think it's okay for the Secretary of Defense to leak classified info that would get someone?
When
who
did
is
he
an
leak
enlisted
classified
person
info?
lose a stripe?
When
and
did
arrested?
he
You think
leak
it's okay for him
classified
to
info?
do that?
It was literally
Yes,
on the
he did.
signal chat. It was on the signal chat. It's
When
not
did
replicated.
he leave? Are you talking about the first instance where a
The first
staffer
instance.
invited the wrong person? You got to
Again,
include the
doesn't
whole
matter.
thing.
If I may, he
Yeah, go
didn't
ahead.
vet it properly. This is one of the reasons why they don't let people use unsecure devices, such as their personal devices, because you cannot verify who else is on the line, such as when you're in a
Using
Signal group chat. If this had happened over a skiff, there would be 0% chance
There-
that someone who was not supposed to be there would be there. None,
Okay.
0%, right? Because they don't have access to the skiff. And this is why it's a problem. My issue here is that if I had done this when I was in the service, I would be at the very least lose my clearance, lose a stripe, and probably face jail time or charges. And the fact that
I
he
gotta
is
ask you
able to
something,
do
Wick.
that and face no repercussions shows a very big double standard where the elites get away with shit that the rank and file do not, and that's a problem for me.
So just one point of clarification. You can absolutely see who's on the call-in signal, according to the information I have. And Hegseth knew that the people that were there knew that there were this many people there. He just didn't know the reporter had been added because he didn't recognize his name, but he assumed he was vetted by the staffer whose job it was to vet them. Right? Like
Well,
this is literally you're saying that you're literally what you're the equivalency.
And why we don't accept that as
ignorance
as a
of the
good
law.
excuse.
Ignorance, it does not make an excuse. I'm sorry, it does not fucking.
That's
work
not
that way, 'cause we
ignorance
need
of
to
the
come to
law.
understand-
That's a moronic argument. Why
It
would you
is
do that?
ignorance.
Why would you say that? That's
No.
ridiculous.
He's being completely ignorant because he literally posted classified information on this signal chat. And it doesn't matter
Yeah,
whether
it's a
he knew
chat. It's
people
not
on
a
there or
server.
not.
So I'm glad you finally got that right. But here's a problem,
It's not a
Kirsh.
secure server.
Here's a problem there, Alex. The problem is that the staffer is responsible for making sure the people are vetted. You are trying to say the law is the law, and sure, the law is the law. But the staffer, it's his job. That's like you saying that a general should be fired. It's literally like you saying the general should be fired because a lieutenant gave the wrong job to somebody else, right? When what happens is the general goes to the lieutenant and says, "Hey, what the fuck, man? This shit's wrong. That's a wrong job. You gave the wrong guy the clearance here." And the guy says, "Yeah, you know what? I fucked up. All right. Well, you know what? You're no longer lieutenant anymore." And that's the equivalency.
I really
you keep drawing false equivalencies, and I can't let you do it. I can't. There's no reason to continue drawing false equivalencies.
I would like to get it after you guys.
Go ahead, Gibbs. I'm sorry.
Alex and Gibbs.
But here's the problem though, because and Katya just said it, you don't accidentally let people in on a skiff. If somebody is unauthorized to be in there, you don't disclose information that is not supposed to be disclosed to unauthorized parties. And once again, I cannot stress this enough. When I brought up Jack Texera, he leaked classified materials on a Discord server, and guess what? He's going to prison. Chelsea Manning leaked classified materials on an unsecured server. It was basically like, it was WikiLeaks.
They did it. They did it, and they did it intentionally. You are literally this again. You keep making the same moronic argument.
Great.
Make a better argument.
You gotta Greg. You're not listening, sir. You're not listening whatsoever. Okay, it's classified material because the operation hadn't kicked off yet. He literally gave the weapons, the platforms to be used, the weather clearance, the times that to be leaked. This is classified information. It's not up for debate. And he put this on an unclassified server. He can't do that.
You keep saying server. It's not a server.
Server, chat, it doesn't matter. Tomato, it doesn't really matter. We need to come to understand.
Always
matters. You guys are just trying to you're trying to gloss over the word. No, you're glossing over what's really
I'm not glossing over anything. I'm being accurate.
You are.
Accuracy matters.
You're not being accurate. I'm actually
only Hegseth had cared about accuracy when he went through and tried to vet who was on the
Yeah, but the thing is, what's interesting
is that, is not to vet every single person invited to the meeting. That's the staffer's job, and the staffer lost because
if I'm a sergeant, and then one of my guys that I'm in charge of fucks up, guess who's getting in trouble? Both of us. We're both getting in trouble. We're both facing issues because I, as a commander, am responsible for what my people.
Is your general going to get in trouble?
Yeah, that's the better question.
Is your general Did the general specifically appoint me?
Yes. If the general says, If the general said, all right, we'll use
If the general gives
captain
me a
comes
job
by,
to do,
if a captain comes by, if the OD comes by and he says, "Hey, Wick, I need you to get 2 people, and I need this rock wall torn down and moved over there 100 feet," and he comes back through there, or somebody walks by and that rock wall is not done, who gets in trouble?
Did he give a time when it needs to be done by?
Hold on. If the general, and I'll give you a better example,
Okay.
a better question here.
Sure.
If the general says, "Hey, here's some secret documents, Wick, and you need to take care of them," okay? And then I don't take care of them, and I let someone see them that I'm not supposed to, the general absolutely is going to get in trouble too. Not as much as me, but he's absolutely going to be talked to as well.
Maybe Pete Hegseth needs the Harry Truman sign on his desk too.
The buck stops.
The
here,
buck
that's
stops
cool.
here.
Well, it's interesting though. I would like to point out though,
Go ahead,
because
Gibbs. Yeah.
earlier the argument that we were hearing when we began this debate was, oh, they didn't follow procedures, right? And like I said, the CISA guidelines specifically cited that government officials should download end-to-end encrypted communications platforms, and this is what you brought up, Wick, to their cell phones and computers, specifically citing the Signal app as an app to download to comply with best practices. Okay, so that tells me, one, they're
The
following
government phones or the personal phones? Because at least in the military, we got
It says
government
both.
phones.
It says both. Personal, yeah.
Okay.
So okay,
Does-
so this. Hold on. So that to me tells me they're at least following procedure. And here's the crazy part: it's not even procedure set up by Trump. It's a procedure previously established in 2024 under Biden. But nobody cared then. Now here's the second thing, right? So y'all keep bringing up this guy. Okay, Hegseth should have got his staff or whatever. Yada yada yada. Okay, listen, I've worked a lot of jobs in my day. Right. And there is a line where it's like, okay, if you're El Jefe at top, you've delegated stuff to people lower than you. Now, it seems to me like he delegated stuff to lower and someone fucked up. Now, I guess it looks bad on you that you delegated to somebody and somebody fucked up. But I got to be honest, even if you have the best employee in the world, my best employee at my company has fucked up a time or two. Now, I wouldn't fire them even because they made me tons of money. But I wouldn't fire it just because they screwed up once. Now, if they came in and they cost me millions of dollars, maybe. But this is not a millions of dollars. This was, a potential risk, which was less than 1%, if we're being really honest, was potentially in there. And, yeah, sure. Maybe if it was like whatever. And I'm gonna quote something. Do y'all remember Joseph Heller's novel? And it was turned into a movie, Catch-22, where they had the character of Major, and he was turned into a major. All right. He actually stated in interviews later that this was based off of stories he had been told about during World War II of bureaucratic hiccups. Now, if bureaucratic hiccups can come to the point where people are getting wrong ranks or being assigned to wrong things, and this actually cost people's lives during maybe one of the biggest wars of all time, and they didn't get fired, they just had to fulfill that role, then, I'm a little bit more skeptical that we should fire Hegseth, the head of the department, over the screw up of Sally, the intern, or this other guy, Mike Walls. Maybe he should be fired, but absolutely not Hegseth over something this other guy did after he delegated downwards. Because, it seems like World War II precedent, we didn't do that.
I mean, Hegseth clearly reified and continued the practice of, showing unclassified or unvetted people classified information using Signal. So, I mean, if the first time he was adding accident people on by mistake, this time, obviously, he's sending it.
Okay, Gibbs, I gotta ask you. Does your source indicate that Signal was uploaded to classified or secret phones? Does it say that anywhere?
I can pull. Yeah, it says for personal and government use phones. It says that.
I didn't say government use. I said secret phones.
I don't know what secret phones are about that.
Exactly. That's my fucking point. That is because you see, you have government phones that are like nipper phones, and then you've got secret phones. That is a completely different level of classification. Because that's what I was trying to talk about earlier. The general, the CENTCOM commander, was communicating with the Secretary of Defense on one device. That is a secret device. That's how they can maintain.
Is that issued by the government?
Yes.
So then it probably falls under the government issue phones thing, especially when it's in regards to hostile areas, like embassy people in Russia is one of the people areas that list. I would assume they would probably have secret phones. Would you assume that?
That's a different level of encryption. That's completely different though.
Yeah. So what my point is, though, they're saying under the Biden administration, it was supposedly.
We're not talking about the Biden administration.
Hold on. Yeah, but
We
I
are not
listen,
the Biden
listen,
administration.
hold on.
Well, I mean, it is active.
I'm not even bashing.
Sir.
I'm not even bashing Biden here. I'm just pointing out these are the guidelines set forth, right, under the
Biden
Biden
duration
administration. Hold on,
syndrome.
and it's still being used today. So y'all argued about the procedures. The procedure is high-level government members in threat areas are recommended on their personal and government-issued things to download the Signal app to use. So if a secret phone is a government-issued phone in a high value target area, that seems to me like something that would be covered under that directive. Would you agree?
It's not.
They're
No,
all
because
directed to
no.
Signal.
That was
you
way
have to
too
understand-
coherent an
You have
argument.
to understand
Yeah.
something. Anytime you actually have to carry a classified phone, classified documents, classified files, there's something that you're issued. It's called basically being a courier. Okay, you're only authorized to that, meaning only authorized people can carry this device. I mean, it's. I can't be any more clear about this. Stuff.
So you mean that everybody that was in that meeting had a similar exact device?
What? That's not what I
No,
said.
which was the problem.
But everyone that was supposed to be in the meeting was supposed to be on such a device.
If you're going to be talking about war plans, you need to use a skiff. You need to use specific devices. Yes, that's the problem here. Is that
I guess
where not everyone
the issue I'm
was using
having
that
here
device.
is the issue that I find interesting, and maybe I'm sure it's just me, but the staffer that set this whole thing up, didn't he? I mean, how did he set that up?
Fine, fire him. Fire him.
Well,
I'm fine.
No. How did he even set it up? I mean, how did that even?
They put it on a group chat and they added people to the group chat on the personal phones from the personal numbers, which is the whole problem. And they all knew that this is on our personal phones and we're communicating very classified information on a personal device. That's the problem. Signal is a red herring, right? It's the personal devices and the fact that not everyone there could be vetted properly.
Would you be upset if a person with no security clearance was, say, in a top secret cabinet meeting?
Yes.
Oh, so then you think we should prosecute Jill Biden?
Why? Okay. What happened?
Because she allegedly was running cabinet meetings. Jill
Biden. Okay.
Jill Biden. She doesn't have security clearance, and she was allegedly running cabinet meetings.
Was the cabinet meeting?
No, stop.
Wait, she does.
Was the cabinet meeting dealing with classified information?
Because I was curious.
What was it? What was the cabinet meeting about?
Well, we don't know because
No, we don't.
Wait. How are you going to make that
argument?
We don't know.
I mean,
how are you going to make that
argument? Should we prosecute? Should she be prosecuted afterwards for running cabinet meetings? Because we don't know because they were closed cabinet meetings.
Gibbs, have you been drinking, sir?
They were closed cabinet meetings.
Yeah, but I might after this. Who knows?
No, but because the thing is, that's completely separate. Okay, unless you're going to tell me that she was in the situation room getting situation reports.
Just real quick, we know. Hold on.
The president chose what was classified and declassified. What happened to that, Gibbs?
Well, I'll tell you what happened.
Because we do know who. Hold on, we do know what cabinet meeting Jill Biden was in. It's not a secret. We know. You know what it was about? The updates on Women's Health Initiative.
Is that the only ones? Because that's not what the reports
she was on. Yes,
that's not what the reports are saying. They come out. They said that she was looking at a bunch of them.
Okay, what else?
I mean, allegedly she was in there running the cabinet ever since Joe Biden was mentally incapable.
Okay,
that's what people
just not true. We know what cabinet meeting she was in. We know what she was running, quote unquote, and it was this specific. It was a Women's Health Initiative, a White House endeavor she has headed since its creation in 2023. The First Lady, generally, historically, does have like a little program that they run that they're given, like Kids Health or Women's Health, or they get to choose. It's a little fun thing for them to do that they're doing. So when we talk about Jill Biden being in a cabinet meeting, right? That's the cabinet meeting she was in.
What about Hunter Biden being in cabinet meetings? Because he was there, reported in multiple cabinet meetings from as far back as June 2nd. Apparently, according to NBC, it says there was a bunch of them, a bunch of different meetings with Hunter Biden there.
Was any of it secret or top secret information?
I mean, who knows? He was just in there, and a lot of them.
Oh,
Exactly.
who knows?
So basically, you're just trying to do a whataboutism, and you're
I
giving
mean,
me a
I'm just
hypothetical.
saying, these are
He is doing a
these are fine.
whataboutism.
These are
That's
fine.
obvious.
You are giving me a
Yeah,
hypothetical.
that's
We're talking
obvious.
about
I'm
what's
trying to get you to hold to the same standard.
I'm talking about what is actually being proven, and a signal chat did take place, and it's been proven, and it cannot be debated. And you're just trying to toss out all these fucking
just
red
the
herrings
one,
and shit.
just the one.
Red herrings. I mean, I'm just trying to get you to hold the same standard, but you seem incapable of doing
I've
that.
given you the standard.
We're
but you
allowed
keep
to have a
going to
different standard depending on the information that's being discussed.
I've literally given you other examples that are more appropriate, but you're like, oh well, Joe Biden and Jill Biden said on cabinet.
Well, I mean, you've been saying, hold on, you've been objecting to me
time.
using anything Biden just when I was pointing out guidelines that are established. I mean, that was pretty dumb. But
I didn't bring up Joe Biden. You brought up Joe Biden, not me.
Yeah, because she was in cabinet meetings, and so was Hunter Biden in cabinet meetings. So,
Was any of them top
So
secret
were they
secrets?
top secret?
apparently he was advising them for years, since he came back. I mean, that's the
Hunter Biden didn't have a.
What?
We are getting off topic, but Hunter Biden had no job in the administration, so it's completely fucking irrelevant. I'm sorry, it's completely irrelevant.
Wait, does Trump's kid, Don Jr., have a place in the administration right now?
I never said he did. We're not.
But he still advises Trump, does he not? He still talks.
I don't know what he does. I don't really care either.
Because he comments on things all the time, and people quote him.
Yeah, and he's not very good at it either.
Oh, okay.
Hey, so a super fun and awesome challenge for everybody. Can we defend Hegseth?
I don't care about Hunter Biden.
Random shit.
Again,
I don't care about Hunter. I have a relevant question.
I just want you to have the same standard.
I have a relevant
question.
question.
Fine, but
you're not doing that.
You're just being irrelevant. You're just.
I have a relevant question.
Go ahead. It is relevant.
So if Trump is talking with Trump Jr. about, top secret and classified things like war plans, which is highly probable and I think has happened, why is that different than Hegseth telling his wife he's not going to be home because he's got to smoke some Houthis?
If Trump is texting his son or his wife or anyone really that isn't read up in or doesn't have a need to know classified war plans, that's bad, and he should be prosecuted for it.
But you were
and
you were just okay with like Jill Biden basically doing all of Joe Biden's work. I'm sorry.
You think Women's Health Initiative was classified information?
Well, I'm saying that once he became mentally incapable, as a judge decided, wasn't she sitting in all these things and basically doing his job for him? Wasn't that?
No.
Seemed like what it was. Okay.
No.
We'll see.
Yeah.
We'll figure it out.
Because we have to come to understanding about something, okay? When it comes down to the discussion of top secret and secret information, classified, unclassified, if Trump says, oh, I can just magically make this stuff unclassified, that means the entire country should be able to see this information, correct?
Yeah, sure.
Okay, so all the stuff that he had that's classified information, if he can declassify it, that means he needs to distribute it to the public, essentially, right?
I don't know that there's a call to say need.
Hold on. Are you saying that if it's declassified, it should just be distributed?
Yeah, because unclassified basically means it can be viewed by the public.
Well, there's a difference there in what you're saying, though. There's if something becomes unclassified, anybody can look it up. Versus, hey, it's declassified. Now I'm going to send it to everybody's news agency.
A technical manual for a howitzer is unclassified, meaning anybody can view it at any time. You just got to know where to look for it. Essentially, that's my entire point. This is why it's so important that this is why verbiage and accuracy, like you said, Grid, is important.
Accuracy,
if you declassify, if you unclassify something, right? If you unclassify like a report or something like that, means it can be viewed by the public. But there's a reason as to why we classify and keep stuff top secret, especially before an operation kick off, because there are certain people that are not privy to this information. I mean, how many times do I got to say this to make sure it's drilled in? Essentially, you don't disclose operations, especially before they kick off, on something called Signal. Why? Because it's not secret and it's not top secret. It doesn't matter who is or who is not on the chat. You shouldn't be doing these things.
Well, hold on. What you keep saying it's not secret or top secret or secure.
Hold on.
I got guidelines indicate that it is.
So that's different from the DoD guidelines, anyways.
That's best practice. That is literally the best practice established right now in hostile areas is use Signal. And you're saying that this is not secure. Like, that's what's crazy is you're arguing against the own guidelines that the previous admin established and Trump and them have continued. So, is your issue with Signal itself or is it with the people? It can't be both. Like, that's the real question.
It can be both.
Well,
it really can be both.
Oh, okay. Well, then that's
if the
dumb.
Biden administration, okay, I'll tell you what. If the Biden administration had leaked top secret classified material on Signal or on unsecured apps, and they find out about this, by all means, drop the hammer. I am all on board with it because it's all about consistency. I talk about all these people that talk about classified material on unsecured sources, links, whatever, however you want to put it. It does not matter. This is my entire point. If you could find, if the Trump administration can find a correlation saying that Biden did the exact same thing as administration, by all means, drop the hammer. I am all for it. I have no problem with that. But we're talking about what Pete Hegseth did, and you guys are like, oh no, there's just they're going after a great military hero.
He didn't do it. Once again, it was
the staffer. Okay, did the staffer drop the classified material? Yes or no?
Did the staffer add the guy that shouldn't have been there?
Answer my question. Please. Did Hegseth, who dropped the classified material? Please answer.
Who added the staffer?
Who dropped
Using
the classified
Signal's
material?
the problem too.
Who dropped the classified material? Please answer, Gibby.
It sounds like Hegseth dropped it in what he thought was a secure chat because he trusted his employees, and yet one of the employees added somebody that shouldn't be in there. I mean, sure, but you also have to concede that once again, he didn't add them, somebody else did, so it's not even his mistake. It's like if you trust your employees and they do something and you do it later, oh, okay, cool, now I'm somehow accountable for this guy's mistake way down the line. That's ridiculous.
Using it is the problem. That's what he's trying to say, is that using it is the problem. Then it doesn't matter if you all classified people or fucking whoever the fuck.
If using it is the problem, comment yet. If using it is a problem, why is it endorsed?
DOD?
It's literally endorsed. He read it to you 4 times. Read it again, Gibbs. Read it again.
Just real quick. Here's the thing. It's not approved for communication of secret or classified information. It's approved specifically for things like, hey, you want to get lunch? Hey, what do you want on your order? Like you want some pepperoni?
That again, Gibbs?
There are different levels here.
Read that again, Gibbs.
Read what again? The CISA thing?
Yeah, the signal thing in hostile environments.
Yeah, long story. I'm not going to read it again because it's a whole paragraph. But yeah, long story short, it's in high-profile areas, with high-targeted individuals, for high-level government officials are recommended as best practice from CISA to download it on personal computers, on government computers, and government
cell phones. Not used for transfer, for transmission or communication of classified information.
No, except it
talk
says,
about anything. That's the point.
It says to talk about high-value topics of discussion that would be interesting.
It's a top secret for imminent fucking attack.
Hold on. Is classified information? Hold on. Is classified information something that would fall into high value information?
No,
that's a different standard.
No, classified is a different standard.
It will say classified or top secret. It will say it.
You don't think that classified information is highly valuable?
No, not in the same category. Not even close.
Really?
Okay.
It's not highly valuable.
Gibbs, you have to understand
hold on.
something.
These are specific terms that are used in specific ways. They're not something that, it's highly valuable to have classified information. That's not what they mean when they say that.
Well, go ahead. Please go ahead, because it seems like there's some discrepancy between you and
classifications, and you have different levels of classification. You have secret, you have top secret, and there's a bunch of other ones as well, right? Like, for example, you could have different types of security clearances, not just top secret.
I mean, I think that's a little bit of a misnomer, because
scope investigation background checks. You could have all different sorts of levels of clearance. You have white, you have Yankee white, etc., which gives you access to different information. When they're talking about high value topics, it's talking about things like, for example, when the vice president, J.D. Vance, and Hegseth were talking about what they thought about Europe, right? That's high valued. It's not necessarily classified, right? It's not communications we want getting out, but it's not classified. And I think that those would be considered high-value topics. But it's not classified. And if that's all he had done,
that's interesting.
That's there's a little bit of
Hold on, here's a problem. They're wrong. They're actually wrong here, because guess what? CIA Director John Ratcliffe appeared before the Senate Intelligence Committee and said that they use Signal to talk about classified things. So you telling me that if the CIA is using
has
it,
different standards, the FBI has different.
Yeah,
Oh, so
Yeah.
but the classified documents aspect is the same,
The
though,
DoD
correct?
Is
has a
that CIA
different
top
standard.
secret as well? Like, or
Well, so
Well,
this
I
is a
don't know. It
misnomer
depends.
because
Interesting that the CIA, maybe one of the most clandestine, secretive organizations in the world, can use it to discuss classified documents, but somehow it's too good for the DoD, I guess. Okay, that makes sense.
I mean,
for imminent attacks?
Come
Yeah,
on,
probably.
classified.
Come on.
So we keep talking about all these terms, and I got it. I wasn't going to, but I mean, really, what we're talking about the level of classification that of the conversations Hegseth was having weren't even compartmentalized, which is a higher level than secret, top secret, or classified. Basically, top secret is like getting a top secret clearance is like getting a driver's license. It's super low level. Basically, anybody in the military can get a top secret clearance without any real trouble. Now, classified is a little
Oh,
higher.
hold on. What do you have to do
Compartmentalized
to get a
gets
top
gets
secret?
you
Hold
into
on.
a lot of
Since you know so much about it, what do you need to do to get a top secret clearance in the military? Let's say the Air Force.
It depends. I mean, it depends on your job, I suppose. But I didn't. I have lots of people who
process?
have top secret clearances work for me, and they didn't seem to think it was any big deal at all to get it. And some
Yeah,
of them
but
still have it.
I'm asking you what the process is.
I'll look it up.
Okay, so you don't know what the process is.
I don't think it's particularly hard. Is it hard?
It's not hard, but it is thorough.
How?
That makes
I mean, is it like the FBI
All
employment?
I had to do was answer a questionnaire and go to an interview and give them references so the people would interview different people
Sure.
and they would find other references from there. I didn't have to do much, but the level of thoroughness that people had to go through to vet me was quite high.
So, Wick, how stringent is the CIA's requirements to become a CIA?
I don't know the
I have no
CIA.
idea because
It
I
doesn't
only know
matter
a
when
couple
they
of
don't
people in the
abuse
CIA, and they don't
shit
talk about
between
it.
different groups.
I don't
The
know
reason
much
I
about
asked
the
that,
CIA.
the reason I asked that is because from what I do know of the CIA, they have pretty stringent, intensive background research that goes into it. And when the CIA director is saying that the first thing they did when he walked in was he got on a computer and the Signal app was already installed, and they use it to discuss classified information. That really blows the whole argument about, oh, we can't use it for classified information out of the water, considering how much classified shit the CIA does, and it's much more dangerous for the CIA information to get leaked than it is for, oh, maybe the Houthis could somehow find out about what this one reporter in America found 10 minutes before the bombs hit him.
2
Yeah,
hours.
I gotta, 2 hours. Sure,
Yeah, and here's the thing.
Doubt
Wait,
that one's the same.
what-
you
You're
know?
you're assuming
wait,
so
wait.
much here. You're making so many assumptions, and
I'm
we're
just
negating the
quoting-
fact that there
quoting
are
what John
different
Ratcliffe said.
standards for
Yeah, one of them is more
for these
stringent.
agencies. And okay, that's great and all,
The
but like
CIA is
if it
more
was
stringent.
so fucking secure, then maybe Pete Hegseth should have changed that on his own, or this should have been a standard and not him deciding to do it
It
on
is
his
a
own.
standard. It is the standard established under the Biden admin. That's
Okay,
what
so
I
I
keep
gotta-
telling you.
In
gotta
the
throw a flag on the play.
DoD.
I gotta throw a flag on the play because it is the top of the hour. I'm gonna read these super
Right.
chats, make a little bit of money, and then we'll get into and continue the discussion. So
Yep.
continue to give me these super chats. I'll continue to read them out. $5 from another new account to say, if you didn't call for General Milley to be fired, General Milley to be fired after 13 died in Afghanistan, plus the treasonous behavior, that I don't want to hear about Hegseth. Thank you for the $5. $5 more from Deej Nuts to say, fire everyone, smiley face. $5 additional from Deej Nuts to say, Signal has no RBAC or chain of custody controls. Classified intel should never be shared in it. $5 from Majin. I love you, brother. Also, yo, Gibbs, I thought you said you was going to hand out the whoopins to Wick, but I don't see that, Hashtag
Well-
shook ones.
Well, Wick is moderating. So
$5 from Alphan Topical. If
I
a
don't
Signal
feel very
chat
Wick.
on a personal device is so secure, why even have skiffs in the first place? Be serious.
Good
$5
question.
from Caleb. Should our tax dollars be spent on a makeup studio in the Pentagon? Yes or no answer.
I've been waiting for that one.
But we'll get to it.
I don't know anything about that, so
$5.
Hey, we're good faith. We haven't mentioned it.
Yeah, $5 from Deej Nuts to say Signal's encryption is fine for government use. The problem is in configuring who has or doesn't have access to a chat. $5 from Caleb. Yes or no? Is it against SCIF policy to use personal devices to transmit classified information over commercial messaging app? Question mark. And then $5 more from Caleb Do the CISA guidelines provide best practices for officials transmitting classified material? Hint, they don't. Thank you for the $5. Okay, with that,
I
go
got
to
a question though.
Grid,
Okay,
go
so
ahead.
go ahead.
Alex, I guess. Alex, if you have a question, go ahead.
Go ahead, Grid. You go first, man.
No, man, I'm cool. Go ahead. I
Okay.
was listening to the super chats.
So Gibbs, you said that John Radcliffe said that they took part in like sharing classified information on Signal. Because
That's correct.
I'm looking at it. It says, to be clear, I haven't participated in any Signal group messaging that relates to any classified information. Radcliffe said, and down below it says Radcliffe claimed that soon after he became the CIA director, Signal was downloaded on his computer at the agency and was briefed on how to use Signal for work. He said the CIA's use of the app preceded the Trump administration, was used during the Biden administration. It says nothing about disclosing or
that's
sharing.
Interesting because you're
Used
skipping.
for what?
He's skipping two major sentences there. Why don't you read the
I'm
sentences
not.
you're skipping?
No,
Because this is what he says. Was Signal's loaded on my computer at CIA, as it is for most CIA officers. One of the things that's briefed on very early, Senator, was by the CIA records manager folks about the use of Signal as permissible for work use. Now, I don't know if you know anything about the CIA, but guess what? It is
for classified
That doesn't
material?
mean classified, top secret, or secret. That doesn't mean that.
Because you have to.
I already
You have to
read
understand-
the part where you talked about classified information.
No. I just read something.
Not
that completely
everything the CIA
contradicted
does
you.
is classified.
I read something that's completely contradicted your
Sure.
statement. I mean,
No, you didn't. You read the second part of the same statement I made, and the second part I also
I'm not
confirmed
seeing
what I
that.
said in the first part. I
Can
mean, just
someone
read
link
those
me
speech-
what you're reading, please, so I can read it?
Here's a Fox News article. There's about
Please,
15.
just
Oh, Fox News. There we go.
Great.
Yeah.
Fox News is my favorite source.
Well, I mean, they're just
Well, I
quoting
mean,
him.
you
They're
guys are going with
reliable sources.
NPR on this reporting. So, I mean,
Are they?
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah,
here's
I mean,
Texas Tribune
NPR
right
is
here.
so much better. You know, like
you keep going while
well-
I check this.
Well,
Yeah.
the thing is, I don't really watch mainstream media outlets to begin with. I mean, it's just because I don't trust any of it nowadays. So I go with independent media
Infotainment.
does. So, but like, the thing is, like, when I'm looking at this, it didn't say anything about him transmitting any classified material over Signal. Now, here's the thing: if they actually had, because most secret computer stuff like that, they have their own means of communication, classified material. So why the fuck would they use Signal for transmit classified material? I don't understand.
are you asking anyone in particular? Or?
It doesn't matter. Just anybody in the group. That's up for anybody.
Well, I think the fact that Signal more can be set, it is not always set. My understanding, again, I don't have Signal. I've never needed it, but my understanding is that once the communique is over, it erases it and cannot be retrieved ever. Like even Signal themselves can't do it.
Well, my question right now here is like when we talk about the CIA or this other, or the other administration or other groups using this, we don't talk about like what they're using it for as well as what devices they're using on. Because if it's only on their computers that are part of the CIA's computer network, then that's different than if we're putting it on personal phones and using personal accounts that we're setting up with random fucking emails as opposed to what we're using literally through the government. That's another thing with the fucking security thing. It's not a requirement that these people are using government emails to sign up for Signal. They could use their fucking Gmail for all we know, which can easily be hacked and then used to reset passwords. Like, honestly.
I don't know about I don't know about that. That's a little bit. I hope you're being a little bit tongue in cheek there. The reason people like the CIA use Signal is because they're spies, and they don't ever want a record. And what they do is typically above classified, or at least in their eyes, it's above classified because they don't ever want that shit coming out.
What devices are they
fucking
using
spies.
this?
What are you talking about? They're enemy.
On what devices and with what emails?
Burner phones, for all I know. What are you talking about? I mean, they're not using like super cool phones that they get. I mean, what? Seriously, what world do you live in?
No, if you're accessing that sort of information, you do have government phones, and you have to have your whatever chats through your government email and your secure fucking shit. Like, you can't just, like, let's say I have my iPhone, and I'm going to use my Gmail to sign up for fucking Signal, and, like, Pete Hegseth, this fucking dude, whatever Walls, is adding me to a chat. That's different.
I would like to know something. Okay, so I talked about like how General Kurilla used a secured phone that had secret classified transmission capabilities. Why didn't you just use Signal if you guys are so sure it's so secure?
Why wouldn't I?
No, why didn't he? Why didn't he
I don't
use it to
know.
transmit if it's so
I
secure?
don't guess the motivations of people I don't know.
Because he knows you're not supposed to use stuff like that. He knows that you're supposed to transmit information like that over secret or top secret servers. It's that simple. Like, and this is why you don't transmit.
You
this
keep
stuff
saying servers,
over-
but I don't think that we're not talking about servers here. We're talking about cell phones, and cell phones are not servers. We're not.
kind of are.
They're
Oh
not
my
doing this
gosh.
from a laptop. You know, they're using a cell
Oh,
phone.
A laptop is a server now.
I'm being a little bit tongue in cheek and facetious, maybe
Well,
more hyperbolic because
I'm-
they're
Yeah,
not
really.
literally sitting at a desk, and it's not. We're not in the we're not
well,
late.
Well, can I ask a question? Maybe just like
Oh.
Yeah, go
broad
ahead,
here
man.
real
I'm
quick.
being too
Yeah, let's just okay. So say we have an established, what was it? Skiffs? Is that the established one? Say we have a skiffs. And say for whatever reason, let's just say hypothetically, this pure thought exercise. Let's just say but we're gonna call it, I don't know, Gibbs app comes along. And my app is just the world's best peer-to-peer encryption. It's uncrackable. Nobody can get it into it. No way. It's like good for record keeping with the government guidelines, but it's also secure. And the only weak link is the people. So like, how is that if the government decides we're going to use that any different than say, I don't know, someone letting a skiff's device fall into the wrong hands
Well,
if they
hold on.
were, I don't know, captured.
But,
If they
it's
captured
not
my
just
personal
People are
phone.
throwing around
people.
words
How-
here like they know what they mean. A
I'm just
skiff.
asking, like, how
I
is that
not
any
just the
different?
people.
I understand. A skiff is a room that's electronically sealed and cannot be eavesdropped on. It is not a computer. It is not a telephone. It's not something you're going to do a group call on because
There are
the other
computers.
person has to be
Gibbs
in one.
does.
Secure,
So-
compartmentalized. Those two words
Yes.
together mean something. So quit talking about skiffs. We're not talking about skiffs. We're talking about a group phone call.
Okay, so
That's the problem. You understand?
What?
That's the
You
problem.
can't have a
They
meeting
were in a
like
group
like-
chat that was unsecure, and they transferred secure information over that.
and when we
And
talk
the-
about what Gibbs said, right? When he talks about how the only weak link is the people because external hackers can't easily hack into it, that's not the problem, right? The weakness is at the device level and at the email used to sign up for it level. That's the problem. It's not
No,
just the
it's
people.
not.
There is more weaknesses.
No, that's not how that works. That's not how any of that works. First of all, a skiff is literally secure, compartmentalized. It's a room. You have to be
Silent signal.
another one. It's not a computer. It has nothing to do with your email. No signals go in or out except the signals from one terminal to another. That's how that works. I can't believe you came this unprepared to discuss it and keep throwing around the term skiff, which you obviously don't understand what it means. What we are talking about is a group chat or call or whatever that was probably not supposed to really contain the classified information, which, by the way, does not have to be sent in a skiff, as far as I'm aware. Now, maybe there's some different standards. I don't know. I'm not on the staff. I don't know what their internal security looks like. I don't really care either. The point is that the staffer set this up. The staffer who obviously had worked there should have known the proper procedure if we're talking about the first instance. I don't know why we're continuously talking about the first instance because that's already been settled by Trump. The only thing I really care about is this latest instance.
Post hoc.
That's the only thing that
My
I'm
favorite.
concerned about is the latest instance where he's being accused, maybe falsely, of having done it again, which we don't know about. And
You know, this is just reifying the idea that you could do whatever you want, and as long as you fucking sucks Trump dick enough, you can just have him like reify it post hoc.
well, you
Because
should
like we're
probably
talking
get
about,
in
oh, well,
line.
this is settled.
You might want to
I'm
get in
good,
line.
thank you.
The
I'm
reason-
not gonna knock the
Well,
concept of sucking dicks, but Trump is last on the fucking list, bro.
Well,
No, thank you.
if
Next, okay.
when it comes down to it,
everybody wants to be Liliana or whatever her name is. Everybody wants to be her. Don't lie.
no,
He's
we
a
don't
Giga Chad.
actually. Okay, whatever. So going back into this, like when
We're
it comes
not.
down,
That is not the topic. The sex life of Donald
It
Trump
really
is not
isn't.
what we're discussing today.
it really isn't. But anyway, as I was saying, when it comes down to it, the reason why, if this didn't happen,
Maybe it should be.
first, well, I don't give a shit. So at this point, when it comes down to it, if I would like to see Pete Hegseth actually testify under penalty of perjury and to disclose whether he did or did not disclose this to his wife, to his attorney, because if he did, that makes it even completely worse. And
disclose
who else needs
what?
to be involved?
Wait. To his attorney is a
Disclose what?
problem.
Yeah.
His shopping list?
Yes.
Oh, his
Yes.
attorney is a problem.
Yeah. Does he have top secret clearance? Does he have classified clearance?
No, the lawyers have something even better. It's called lawyer confidentiality.
That has
So
nothing
it's
to do-
not better
better.
than top
It's
secret
better.
clearance.
You
Are
can't
you
even subpoena them to break that. Like what? Like they can listen. They don't have to tell nobody nothing. You can listen. We've had people literally represent the most reprehensible people on earth, and they've straight up told them, "I killed 600 people," and they have to go there with a straight face and say, "Not guilty." Give me a goddamn break. We're gonna go after the fucking lawyer? Come on. Do you hear how insane you sound? Like that's how the lawyer. That's the guy we can't trust. Like if the lawyer breaks that and tells people, then not only will he be disbarred, like he's going to lose his business, he's going to be able to be opened up for a litany of lawsuits. Like it's just a never-ending like clusterfuck. Yes, absolutely.
No,
Clusterfuck.
absolutely not.
Listen, well, clearly you don't know anything about the
Gibby.
law, so
Wrong.
let's just like here's
Gibby,
the breakdown.
what the fuck do you
Here's
know
the
about the law?
breakdown.
Gibby,
Well,
national security.
here's the thing.
No. You gotta
Here's the thing. Here's the thing.
Let him finish. Let him finish. Let him finish.
Yeah, I'm literally up to the end here. I'm landing.
Let Gibbs go. You can
Here's the
respond
thing.
after he's done.
Yeah,
Gibbs, finish up and then.
I'm literally there. Yeah, I'm sorry. So yeah, whenever you always say go after the lawyer, it's just ludicrous because the lawyer has an even higher standard than even the defense department does. So y'all are just sitting here throwing like I don't know, paint at a wall or spaghetti at a wall and seeing what sticks. That's all you do in here. It's just
Hold
crying
your horses.
for the sake of crying. It's tedious.
If attorney-client confidentiality can be breached, or this has been determined for the purposes of national security, then how the fuck does it trump national security reasons and shit involving our top secret clearance? How's that?
I'm sorry, I didn't understand that word salad. Can you repeat that?
Yes. Say that again.
Okay, thank you for that. We really appreciate the way you're saying that. But anyways,
say that. Yeah, I'm sorry. Just say it again.
Right. If attorney-client privilege can be breached for the sake of national security, which I mean it definitely can. That's been determined, along with it being broken for cases in which somebody is in imminent danger. Then why are we saying that attorney-client privilege is above the DOJ's requirements for classified top secret, blah, blah,
So
blah?
I'll answer that. It's pretty easy, actually. First of all, in this scenario that we've all described, right? Let's just say he straight up told the attorney the exact plan, like down to the millisecond, what's going to happen with these bombings, right?
Okay.
Now, in the scenario you just laid out, the attorney could break client privilege for, someone's about to get hurt. And that applies not to our enemies.
Not to
not to the Houthis. That it's not going to apply to them. And you said for national security, well, it would only become a national security problem if the attorney revealed it. So that really eliminates both of these issues.
I'm not saying the attorney was going to reveal it. I'm saying that doesn't change that the attorney-client privilege is below national security fucking standards.
I'll go after you, Wick.
Yeah, just real quick. You understand that if I was a general and I decided to break security clearance and tell some rando on the street or call up a journalist, as long as that person doesn't also tell anyone else, then we're okay. But the problem is, the reason that's not the standard which we judge these things by, is because when you take this information and you put it out in a way that is unsecure, which again is what happened here, it increases the risk that something bad will happen and that information will get to people who we do not want it to be with. That's the problem. It is, again, and I want to repeat this, had I done what Hegseth did, I would have lost a stripe, lost my clearance, and I would likely be facing some jail time or at least some charges. That's the issue.
Would you have like this? Let me ask this.
Yes.
Actually, hold on, Wick. Let me ask this. Actually, let's just make this clear. Say you were in like some kind of a group chat, right? Like, well, let's just say same thing. Say, all right, you're in a group chat, and somebody way down the line, say you're a general, way down the line, added another person into this group chat, and you revealed information, trusting the colonels and the majors and all the people underneath you to have done their job, and yet somehow Gibbs, the reporter, was out of this chat. Would you still lose your stripe?
Yes.
No.
Here's the deal.
No,
If
you
I,
wouldn't.
again, first of all, generals don't have stripes. They have
Exactly.
stars. This is,
Sure,
they
stars,
are
whatever. I'm not
officers, they're
in the-
not enlisted.
Lose something.
Enlisted Air Force members.
You
will
know
lose
what
their
I mean.
stripe. I understand what you mean, but I just wanted to correct the record on that just briefly. But it's neither here nor there. Again, if I was Wick when I was in the Air Force, and I happened to be in Qatar, and I knew that in a couple hours, right, we were going to send some planes to bomb to drop some warheads on some foreheads, okay, right? And I had been in a Twitter group chat, and I decided to tell my Twitter group chat, hey, at 2 p.m. Eastern, we're going to fly out, and I'm going to send these fighter jets, and we're going to bomb the target here. And someone found out I had said that, that would be my ass. I would be in jail.
All right, so I really got to jump in on this. Okay, so Gibbs, you got to understand something though. Do you think that during this text chat, essentially, that he was being paid for his time being a lawyer at that point? Was this like a friendly chat? Was this an official chat?
As somebody with experience
gotcha.
in law firms, I would say that
I
he
didn't
was
ask about
probably
your
already on.
experience.
Oh, cool. I'm answering your question. I would say
you're
that
not.
he. Yeah. Well, if you would let me finish, I will answer your question. He was probably on retainer. Would be my expectation.
Okay, so you're being okay.
He was on file. Yeah, he would be his attorney at all times.
Yeah, probably not. But anyway, as I was saying,
Well, that's literally how it works.
Okay, fine, whatever. So at this point,
It
then
doesn't give him security clearance.
it doesn't give him security clearance. He doesn't have this clearance to receive this information.
But
He
it
doesn't
makes
have the
it
clearance.
client. Pete Hegseth is client.
Wait, so
As I
even
was
if you
saying-
don't have somebody on retainer at all times, you still can't violate attorney-client privilege.
Does the attorney have a top secret clearance?
How do we don't know?
We don't know. Yeah, I don't know that
He
information.
doesn't.
How do you know?
I'm willing to bet
Do you know that?
I'm willing to bet he doesn't have that clearance.
Well, that's
I mean,
not
I'd be
enough.
willing to bet. I would be willing to
Wait,
bet you're correct, but we don't know that.
Okay, so you want let's just
You
go
come out with
who
it.
gets to hand out those top secret clearances?
the government.
What if I have top
The
secret
Department
clearance?
of-
You don't know that?
You mean the Secretary of
That's your
Defense?
point.
Okay, so has Secretary of Defense Pete Hegseth given him a security clearance?
How does he do that? He says he walks in his
I
office
asked
and
you
he
to give
says
him.
person at the desk of my receptionist, please get this guy a top secret clearance.
That's
or
not how
top-
that works, though. That's not
No.
at all how that works.
I'm being
that's
hyperbolic.
actually kind of.
Come on, you know.
Well, I okay, fine. You're being hyperbolic, but the thing
Well,
is,
actually, I'm being
is that, like,
facetious, but close enough.
but anyway, as I was saying though, if we don't know if this
But
guy
you
had the
don't
clearance
know
or not, that's
anything.
already-
You're guessing. We don't know that his wife doesn't have top secret clearance. I don't even know who his wife is. I don't know her name. I don't know anything about her. We don't know.
She's wife number 3.
Okay. We don't
and
know.
his
Does that matter?
brother and
We don't
But
know that
So
the
wife-
attorney doesn't have top
mashing
secret
divorcees
clearance.
now, I guess. God damn, bro.
I don't
So
know that.
he-
I love the family
he never
Really,
held a
all of this
military
is
role, and so
supposition.
did she. But
There's
like
no
somehow they
proof
both
of
have top
anything.
security clearance.
This is literally the ultimate whataboutism, and you're engaging with it like a bulldog. Because we
What-
know nothing. There's no proof.
This is
of
what
anything.
aboutism from the What About Biden squad? What?
Nah.
Okay,
It's
sure.
it's hilarious. Hilarity.
Oh yeah.
But I like it.
True.
I like it. It's fun.
Yeah. Anyway,
Okay.
All right.
Let's
ahead, Wick.
let's move a little forward,
Sure.
I guess. And let's talk about how Hegseth is doing overall. There have been reports, and you can believe them or not, but that the Department of Defense currently is in a state of disarray. There have been multiple firings of leakers. There have been multiple incidences of miscommunications and people not being able to properly do their jobs. How much responsibility does Hegseth have for the state of the Department of Defense currently? And even just on that level, does the Trump administration not at least do itself a favor by looking for possible replacements? I'm gonna let Greg go first. Then once Gibbs gets back, we'll let him.
I can
sound
hear
off
you.
on
Go
this
ahead.
and we'll
Yeah. So I think Hegseth is doing exactly what Trump told him to do, and that is to clean house at the DoD. And I think that's why you have all of these disgruntled former employees, literally disgruntled former employees, coming out left and right saying, "Oh, Hegseth did this, he did that. Oh, we're all in disarray." yeah, you are in disarray because he's ending all the DEI initiatives that Biden put in place. He's cutting out all of as much of the cancer as he can, as quickly as he can in the DoD. One of the real problems that we have with the DoD and the Pentagon is we have more generals than ever, any point in history. We have more of them, and they all have to have somewhere to, they all have to be somewhere, and they're all very political, very much political animals at this point. And it's crazy how many we have that need to be. They need to go somewhere else. They need to retire. They need to find something else to do. And
True. One of them's name is Peter Hegseth. Okay,
well,
okay.
Hegseth wasn't a general, so are you? Maybe you should do more research. I don't know.
Well,
but at any rate,
You said people before that.
At any rate, I think Hegseth's doing exactly what Trump wants him to do. Trump literally put him in place to clean house at the DoD and Pentagon, and that's yet another reason they hate him. They hate him because he's not a general and he wasn't real military, because he was a National Guard guy, and they hate him because he's there to clean house. So it's 3 strikes for him with the staff at the DoD and the Pentagon. But I like it. I think it's what's needed, to be honest. So, but I don't know. Gibbs, go ahead. I'm sorry I talked too long.
I mean, go ahead,
well,
like-
I mean, if you just, I'll go pretty quick. I mean, yeah, I echo a lot of what Grid said. He's definitely coming in as an outsider. Like when I voted for Trump, I voted for 2 things. I wanted the border secured. I wanted my ranch, immigration, because of what's happening with my ranch. And I voted for, I want fucking some efficiency. I want some fucking shit going down. The government's gotten bloated, yada yada. And I want my taxes lower. I want all this, my money, right? I want to see money being spent right. I'm tired of money being wasted. And so what I've seen so far from the Trump administration as a whole is he's tried to accomplish. Now, whether you like what he said he's done, he's at least tried to fulfill the promises he's made. Now, whether you like how he's accomplished that, that's a whole different debate. With Hegseth, I see the epitome of that, right? He's come in. He's already taken recommendations from Doge. He's fired those people. He's gutted people, like y'all mentioned, leakers. Well, y'all have a problem with classified documents and classified stuff being fired. Guess what? I would probably want those people fired too if they're leakers. But, and like, hey, if they're not on board with the new vision of the administration, it's time to fire them. So I'm fans of all these things. He pushed, like, hey, some of this other stuff, like the transgender surgeries for the military. I don't know why we're funding that shit. Hold on. I know it's not a huge portion of it, but it's one of the things that he's pushed to try to get rid of. The courts are holding them up. He's pushed other people out, and same thing. It looks like he was the one that was the deal maker with Panama, and it looks like he accomplished his goals. So I see more good coming from Hegseth than I see bad. And whenever our arguments for bad, these are the 3 arguments to fire him: are Signal Chat 1, which he didn't even add the guy; Signal Chat 2, which is alleged from, guess like Grid just said, a disgruntled former employee, John Hoyot or whatever his name is; and then 3. The other complaint is now, and this is a really stupid one, and I even hate to bring it up, but this stupid makeup artist facility that they put at the Pentagon. Say he did spend $40K on a makeup facility at the Pentagon. I don't really give a shit if he did do that. They all got to give press conference all the time. It seems like something, but it seems like that's not even true, based off what new reports are coming out. That's
what he said
in opposition to what CBS said. Well, I don't know. There's a bunch of stuff.
So
I don't know.
I don't care about his makeup. He can have as much makeup as he wants. He can look like fucking Trixie Mattel for all I care. Okay, like good for him.
I was going more for Jeffree Star, but personally, but go ahead.
Oh,
just some breaking news actually, and this is reported in the Associated Press, and I just looked this up. I was just made aware of this. This was reported just before we started the show. Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth had an internet connection that bypasses Pentagon security protocols set up in his office to use the Signal messaging app on a personal computer. That's according to 2 people familiar with the line who spoke to the Associated Press. It's known as a dirty internet line by the IT industry. It connects directly to the public internet, where the user's information and the website's access don't have the same security filters or protocols that the Pentagon's secured connections maintain. And the chief Pentagon spokesman said Hegseth has never used and does not currently use Signal on his government computer. Okay. At this point, is it not just like a pattern of behavior of just mishandling?
Yeah, I think he wants his communication
information
Well, hold on, Wick. How I hate to be this guy, right? But The AP, they're a reputable source, right? I know somebody bitched about NPR and someone bitched about Fox News earlier. I'm not going to bitch about that. But this also it's interesting that it says 2 people familiar with the line, because I'm looking at the article now. Doesn't list their names. They're anonymous sources. They could be disgruntled employees. What does this really mean? Like, is this even true? Like, I want more information before I'm going to act on this, because
what would you need to know to believe it to be true?
I would
what information would you need?
Yeah, sure.
It's not gonna matter.
Well,
It ain't
I'm not
gonna
even
matter.
saying. I'm not even sure it's not true. I'm just saying I would like to see at least names attached to people claiming it and what their positions were that could prove that they had access to this. That would be what I would like to see. And then after that, we can assess whether or not this is actually a bad thing. Would be my take. Because I would argue, kind of in the same court as Grid, it seems like Signal seems to be almost more secure than the shit they've been using previously, based on all the information that I'm getting. And y'all, because the complaint seems to be personal devices or the people themselves. So, like, I'm not even sure it is actually a bad thing that it is unsecure. Now, an unsecured internet connection,
you heard it
whole
here
is a
first.
problem.
Signal's more secure than secret and top secret clearances. You heard it here from
great.
Admiral Gibbs.
That's not what I said. I said
That's
the
exactly
devices
what you fucking
and the
said.
apps and the apps.
Yeah.
Well, hold on. Clearances is different than the
That
clearance.
That's my fucking point.
A clearance is a level that you have to get to be able to look up data. Signals
shit.
have to use the SYN data. You understand the difference, right?
Yeah, that's been my entire point this entire time. You just conceded the whole thing then.
No, he didn't concede anything. He literally said
didn't concede
Signal
anything.
is
You
more
just
secure.
conceded your
Signal
entire.
is in fact more secure. All you have to do is just not fuck up and hand out shit the wrong way. But just like any
Anyway,
other,
Follow logic.
No, actually, whatever. Okay, so when it comes down to like how Pete Hegseth is doing, okay, let's just say that he only got the position by the skin of his teeth simply because JD Vance had to come and bail his ass out. He's probably the most unqualified Secretary of Defense that we've ever had. I actually miss General Mattis. He never would have allowed this to happen. He was actually way more qualified. He actually cared more about like the war fighters, something like that. He just didn't talk about it. Let's talk about the fact that Pete Hegseth is essentially just, out there just promoting his brand. He's basically talking about how awesome he is. He's talking about how we're out there fighting for the warfighters, and he's talking about all these anonymous leakers. He said the same exact thing during his confirmation hearing, but yet he has no proof to back up any of his arguments whatsoever. And all these people that he's talking about, disgruntled employees, he brought these guys in. They are his close associates. All of them are saying, no, I've known this guy for years. We are literally close friends with him, and he just ghosted us right out of the blue, essentially. They've all been talking about this. One of them even talked on Tucker Carlson, who's like Putin's love child.
that's an interesting point.
Yes, but
we'll talk about
anyways,
that
as I was saying, we'll talk about it in just a second, though. But all these guys are very close associates with Pete Hegseth, but now he's just dismissing them. It's just the same thing that Trump does with people. He says, I barely knew these guys. I don't know who these people are, basically. Just completely dismissing them without, essentially, when they start turning against him. Even these guys that are actually turning against him, they're saying Donald Trump deserves better than Pete Hegseth because everything is in complete chaos, everything is in complete disarray, and it's not because he wasn't a general, it's because he's completely unqualified. The guy has never actually served in a real command level position, not that you really need to, but he's never served in a strategic or organizational command level position, let alone that there are some people that I felt were Secretary of Defense that I felt like didn't need to be there, like Leon Panetta, but he was able to get in with like 100 votes to none, essentially. But some of these guys that were Secretary of Defense actually had some level of experience that Pete Hegseth does not have. Every organization he's been a part of, he got kicked out of it because of mismanagement of funds. And now we're going to give him the most powerful budget that the country ever has. And everyone's talking about how he's going to downsize the military and get rid of the gut funding. They're about to approve possibly $1 trillion for the first time. And everybody that does research on this knows the majority of funding that goes towards the military industrial complex.
Has Signal ever been hacked?
So that's not the problem. We've talked about this 700 times.
So it's reliable. Well, because you just said clearances and the encryption is the same thing, right? Like that's what you were just saying that I said. So in this case, if that's the same thing, if Signal's never been hacked, then that makes it almost that would be the standard then, shouldn't it? That's the gold standard. If it's never
it doesn't
been
matter.
hacked.
It doesn't
No,
matter
because it's not all about hacking.
But has anybody that's not hold on? So is anybody not supposed to get top secret
You're
documents?
floundering right now, Gibby.
No, hold on. Has anybody ever gotten top secret documents that they weren't supposed to before? Have they ever been able to access it? Oh, they have.
So
they have, right?
What
Right, but
happens
here-
when they
here's
do
my
it?
what
question.
happens to him?
We're
Yeah, that's a good
making-
question. What happens?
What happens to the people who gave them that info?
Well, it depends. My point is this: the point is the weak link is the people, right? And so if the people, like, oh,
No,
so
it's
I
not
have a
just-
spy, and I go in there and they like somehow steal some documents because they bamboozled this as a spy, right? Okay, that means that's even less secure than the peer-to-peer encryption of the Signal thing. Which, so in my mind, Signal's not even that bad.
Okay.
Again, we said it's
hold on,
not just the
real quick.
people.
Okay.
Just real quick.
Well-
Grid wanted to go, and then I
Mm-hmm.
got more super chats to read, so I'm gonna let Grid go.
alright.
He said he wanted to jump in on something, and I'm gonna let him
Yeah,
have that
yeah,
chance.
I
to read these
appreciate
super
that.
chats.
So the thing about the relative of Tucker Carlson, you only did half of the story. So the person that Hegseth fired is related some way to Tucker Carlson, and he was fired for leaking information to the press. That's an important thing that you left out. And literally the day he's fired, he's on Tucker Carlson and talking about how weird it was that he got fired for leaking things to the press. Do you think maybe even if he didn't actually do it, I would not want someone related to a reporter in that position, right? And I don't believe at all that this is a longtime friend of Peter Hegseth, right? Like, I just don't believe that.
So
Can you show me where that? Can you put it in the back jacket or something where it's like a longtime friend of Peter Hegseth, and all of a sudden he ghosted him and fired him for leaking stuff to the press when he was most likely leaking stuff to the press, which is specifically something that Hegseth is trying to eliminate.
So he says,
Right.
but here's my question though. I just want to ask you this question. Okay,
Mhm.
so that guy can get fired for getting leaked. I can agree to that, but not Pete Hegseth. Why is that?
Because Pete Hegseth isn't intentionally leaking anything. Literally, a staffer made a mistake. You keep holding his feet to the fire for that. That's fine. Cool. Whatever.
Define leaking,
Intentionally
because I think for
going
top
to the
secret shit,
press,
leaking is showing to people without security
going
clearance.
to the press and handing them information when you're not supposed to do that. And then when you get fired for it, going on Tucker Carlson and whining for an hour and a half about what good friends that you thought you were, and oh my God, he fired me over it. That seems like a bad argument to me. I don't know. Can you make it a good argument for me?
So outside of the pale of what we're supposed to be talking about, kind of like, I don't care if those two had a fucking
You asked me about
extramarital
the job
affair.
he's
Like, what do we
doing.
give a
He
shit?
brought up
Like, the
Tucker Carlson.
problem is not what he said on Fox News or what he said after that to Tucker Carlson. Not
Then why'd you bring it
on
up?
Fox News, obviously. What he said to Tucker Carlson. It's not about that. It's the fact that he was showing these things to people who don't have security clearance. It's about that he's using an app that does have these sort of, issues with,
The
not
app doesn't
necessarily
have any
hacking
issues.
into it, which
That-
we try
you
to
keep
wheel
saying that,
around
that's
to
not
that every
true.
time. But it's about, obviously, like, people are going to be a weakness no matter what. But with
Repetition
this,
doesn't
we
make
have-
things true. Okay.
Huh?
It's not true that Hegseth intentionally leaked anything. A staffer put the wrong person in
His
the
wife
chat.
and the attorney and the brother?
We
and
don't
whoever
know
the
that
fuck else is in
happened. You don't know that happened. You have a
You know what? Maybe
an
there's a
unnamed
problem
source
with
to
fucking
NPR
Signal.
that said it. Hegseth came out and said, "Yeah, I texted my wife, but it was not classified material."
Okay.
And that's all.
Again,
So,
okay.
again, we
But
can
show
say
me
this
what
all
he
day, but
said.
here's another
Not yet,
problem that
not
we're
yet.
talking about.
Hold on, stop. If you're going to continue to say that, show what was said that is classified information. It shouldn't be put out there. Show me what he said.
Okay, well,
his
I'm
lawyer.
gonna. Okay, then. Well, we don't know. Even in that
Exactly, we
situation,
don't
that we
know.
don't know hypothetically. Like,
We don't.
the
It's not a
problem
hypothetical.
Is,
It's
so that
simply the
that's
fact
great.
that
So
we don't know.
we're arguing here.
Sure.
That going back to your original argument, that because Pete is mad that other people can read his chats, he should be able to use a less secure
not mad
method because
about
he's
it.
salty, and the less secure method is one that in which he would have
That's
no
a
accountability for the
really
things he does
good-
because we don't know, and they might be putting service members in danger. I mean, if this was not allowed or whatever the fuck, that seems like incompetence to me. That seems like somebody who doesn't belong in that position because he's putting people in danger and he's trying to hide shit.
When Michael Phelps. So there's no way
What?
that you can believe all the things that you just said. Literally nothing.
No, I was talking about your positions that you've said during this debate.
I didn't. My position is that we
No,
don't
your position
know.
was that he was upset and he didn't want people to look at his fucking chat. You
I didn't
said
say
these
he was
words.
upset. I said he just doesn't want people. The Defense Department, the people around him, the
Just want
generals
people to
are
read his
pissed
emails. He's
that
clearly
they can't
upset
read
about
his
them being
emails.
able to do it. That's
Hegseth, I don't
literally
give.
why
I think.
he was
I don't
doing
think Hegseth gives a fuck whether they're mad or not.
Well, he would be upset if they were able to. That's what I said.
Okay.
No,
I'm going to read
doesn't
some super
follow.
chats. I'm going to read
Yeah,
some
go
super
ahead.
chats.
Super chat
and
away.
we'll reset a
You
little
go take
bit.
a piss.
Okay.
How long are you going to read? Super
$5 from Testicle Johnson. What is more secure, Signal or a private email server? The answer: Signal. If Hegseth should resign, then Hillary should have as well. Democrat
They didn't win the
hypocrisy.
election.
Thank you for the $5. $2 more from Testicle Johnson. Benghazi, Benghazi, Benghazi. Mushroom. Thank you for the $2.
Don't worry, by y'all's
$20.
standards, if she won the election, it would all be okay.
$20 from Alexander Wren. I am left in awe every time I see Gibbs talk about technical stuff like this. The concept that an attorney can be privileged to hear top secret clearance because of their ethical responsibility is a joke. Thank you for the $20. $5 from Caleb. Breaking from Associated Press. And Hegseth had an internet connection installed that bypassed Pentagon security protocols so that he could use Signal in his office. Thank you for the $5. Thank you for the tip. $10 from Artemis Fowl. So the people claiming that the lawyer doesn't have a security clearance with no evidence, when the likely answer is he is a DOD lawyer, not his personal one. Only concern
Okay,
is
Mr.
his wife,
Madlock.
if true at all. Thank you for the $10, Artemis Fowl. $10 more from Artemis Fowl. Idiots think NipperNet is an unsecure line to the internet. A lot of people telling on themselves in here having no military background. There's no SIPR Signal app. Thank you for the $10. And then finally, well, almost finally, $10 from Alexander Wren. Can we get a firm response from the MAGAs of if they would condemn Hegseth if the second internet line used to bypass Pentagon security is real? Question mark. And then finally, Artemis Fowl, $5. Accusations are proof? Question mark. The accusations lay out a pattern of behavior? Question mark. Is it the pattern of the accusations proof that the accusations are true? Question mark. Okay, and here we are.
I am Ron Burgundy.
Well, that is a
I-
question that I do
yeah.
want to ask.
Whale's vagina.
Let's assume this report
Sorry?
from Associated Press is true, and he
It-
did
it-
have the second
you,
line
man.
installed to
Thank you, man.
bypass the security protocols of the Pentagon. Is that something you think that he should face repercussion for?
I'll answer. No.
Go
I
ahead.
mean, okay. This is gonna sound like a cop out. Fuck it. I'll just take. I'll accept the hate. Maybe. Right. I'm gonna say on my first initial reaction, I want to say no, because it seems to me like Signal actually is secure, and the problem is with the people, right? And then the argument is, oh well, maybe like, oh, you can have a cookie or something put on the computer or some kind of malware that's going to be able to track the data after you download it from unsecure PC. I see that argument, and if that's the case, maybe. However, it does seem to me, and this is going to be where the whataboutism comes in. Someone brought up Benghazi. We didn't try, Hillary, for anybody's deaths that happened in Benghazi. We had soldiers and what was it? A fucking ambassador die at Benghazi. And so I just am sitting here. I think it's rich when we haven't had anybody die because of this, and that we're gonna not prosecute. That we're gonna prosecute Hegseth when Hillary's sitting at home going on a fucking book tour publicity circuit. It's laughable, and it's the most partisan shit I've ever heard.
Do you think that we should have the investigations for Hegseth like we did with Hillary?
Sure. Why not? I mean, I don't have a problem with
I didn't get him to
investigations.
testify for 12 fucking hours. Let's go.
Yeah,
I mean, I don't have a problem with
investigations.
investigations. Like, that's not something I have a problem with.
We
Yeah, I
had
don't care about the
investigations for
investigation.
4 years. We had investigations on 4 years on Benghazi, and they even had the biggest pit bull, biggest prosecutor that's ever existed, Trey Gowdy, investigate, and they turned up diddly squat. So Benghazi has been tried and has been discussed. Even the families of Benghazi says, please stop dragging our families out in the limelight like this. Let them rest in peace. But, they just can't let it go. They just can't let Benghazi go, and they're never going to shut up. Not that they really care about
Wait,
like the people.
why?
And this
why
time,
do
after
people
the
not
first,
let
after
Benghazi
the
go?
first issue, after the first leak, we had literally like everybody who could have, been declaring an investigation. We had Pam Bondi, we had fucking Hegseth, we had Trump, we had this, that, and the third. all saying, "Oh, there's nothing to see here. There's no need for an investigation." I mean, if you're all for investigations, isn't it suspicious? Isn't it weird that these people are trying to fucking dodge any investigation or say that investigation is not necessary? Why is that?
I'm not sure what you're asking. Hegseth's
Well,
there was an
if we're so
investigation.
against having an investigation, why is that like?
There
Why,
was an
I thought we wanted
investigation
investigation.
on Hegseth after the first one. That's why they fired the staffer. What are you talking about?
Yeah, I mean I think that's a good point. They found who did it, they fired him. That seems like
What do you? I
the
mean,
buck stops here. You're done.
So that
Like that's
wasn't
what's the?
entirely.
I
what
will
mean
say
by
that
this.
since I was asked, if it's true that he has an outside line, then first of all, it would be weird that it matters because he's the defense secretary. He can do what he want in the building. It's not like he's the janitor. You guys keep acting like he's a third level employee. He is the guy. If he wants a line and he says, "I want a fucking line right here," he gets a line.
And he's I did get that job because he doesn't give a fuck about security. He doesn't give a fuck about service members. Yes,
Apparently,
okay?
he
Like,
does
there's a
give a
different
shit about
thing.
security because he keeps improving his security. He doesn't want to go through the internal servers because he knows they're reading. The DoD reads his email. It may
What's
be
he
reporting
hiding?
directly to Trump. You
What
don't
is he
hiding?
hiding
know.
then?
What is he hiding?
well, hold on. You
It
can't have
doesn't
it
matter
both
what he's
ways.
hiring. It's his fucking
Hold on,
job.
hold on. This is kind
Okay,
of
so he's the
interesting what
king
you're
of the
doing.
entire DoD.
I can do
Like,
whatever the
Yes,
fuck
he
I
is
want.
actually the
hold on.
king
I
of the
can't
entire
have
Pete
DoD.
Hegseth.
That's
I'm
what the
supported by
Secretary of
Donald Trump. I
Defense
can do whatever
is.
the fuck
I
I want.
understand that you don't like
I don't want to hear
authority.
y'all talk about accountability ever again. This is crazy.
I
You're
understand that
acting
you don't like
we
people in
just-
authority,
Oh,
but
hold
he
on,
is
hold
the
on, hold on,
authority.
hold on,
Doing.
hold on.
I gotta go take a
Everyone
piss.
stop.
You guys better. Let's get,
Okay. Well, before you go, Grid, just a quick question.
I'll be back.
Is it legal for a government employee to hide their emails from the Department of Defense?
Well,
Well, I have no idea
that's
because I'm not the defense secretary.
It's illegal.
But if I was the defense secretary, I'm pretty sure there'd be some latitude in what I did. So
Well,
I'll be right back. I just gotta
I'm
get
pretty sure.
well, hold on.
Go pee if you need.
Can I answer this way? Because interesting, you say that, right? Because the part of the thing that I think we can all agree on about Signal, because laid out for the memo, and I posted the memo in the group chat, is that it has been approved across the board for record keeping, right? So that would include the email. So it meets the standard of record keeping for the emails. Now, this actually goes to Grid's point, though. If he's cleaning stuff out, he doesn't want people to know what he's cleaning. You can't simultaneously say it's not secure and, oh, hey, what is he hiding? And then simultaneously be like, oh, well, we hate that he's using it because it's unsecure. That's what are we doing here? It's either secure or it's
You're
not.
all over the
I
place.
said this again and
You're
a
like
fucking
the
again.
gyroscope
It's
for
not
record
the
keeping.
same type of
You're saying-
security.
I mean, I'm just
You're
following
saying all
along.
that-
It's pretty simple.
No, you're basically saying all that and basically saying nothing at the same time. Okay, when it comes down to the Signal
Okay,
app,
well, if that's what you think, you're wrong.
No, I'm 100% correct. Actually, I've been correct this whole fucking time. Actually, so
Okay.
you cannot disclose secret or classified material on Signal. I don't give a shit how secure it is. Do you know why? Because it doesn't say secret or classified on top of the Signal chat. He also didn't say, "Hey, this briefing is classified." So therefore, he's just basically out there saying willy-nilly, "Hey, this attack's about to take place. This is classified information," as I've said multiple fucking times. But the fact of the matter is, okay, so he puts in a separate line because he doesn't want people reading his emails. Why does he want people reading his emails? What exactly is he talking about? What emails is he talking about? If he's worried, is he worried about secret stuff being disclosed? Well, that's what you go to the SCIF for, to a secret, secure server where nobody's going to read this because it's classified information. Essentially, when it comes down to talking about your actual emails, like day-to-day business stuff like that. Hey, I got this individual report right now. This unit, the 10th Mountain Division, right now is meaning low readiness as of right now, and stuff like that. Okay,
How
go ahead.
certain are
Bend
we?
over backwards.
Right? Because I hear mixed reports, but I'm inclined to believe you. Right? When you say that it's very secure, I'm inclined to believe you on this. But how certain are we that Iran, China, Russia haven't already hacked it and simply not told us?
True.
I mean, I'm not going to pretend I'm a tech expert. I'm sure someone wiser than me can probably give you this at a later date. However, from what I do understand about Signal is that it has never been hacked by anybody as far as we know. Which once again, that's a big
Because if I
caveat.
hacked it, I'll just
As
tell
far
you
as
right
we
now.
know, it's
If
just
I
not
hacked
away.
into someone's
Sure.
group chat, right, I wouldn't tell anyone.
But I mean,
I would collect the info, and then when when it was pertinent and I thought that it would be worth burning that connection, I would use that info. But I would gather a lot of intel before anyone knew.
Sure,
So I would like
sure, Rick. But well, they finish answering though, right? Like, for right now, from what I understand, peer-to-peer encryption, specifically Signal, and I think maybe there's one level above, which would be like quantum encryption or something, right? Like, or is basically the most secure forms of communication that we have at this point. Now, is there some give and take where, like, hey, another government might hack something and nobody in the world knows? Sure. I mean, it's the same risk as, oh, they might have a spy high up in our office and get it, in my opinion. And I don't know
Hold
how you
on.
guard against
It's
both
not
of
the same
those.
risk. There
Yeah,
are
it's probably
m-
the spy's
it-
probably worse.
there's much less of a risk of that, and there are different ways that we can follow protocol to keep that from happening than there are for this. One of the things that the military uses and other organizations use is they use protocol in order to mitigate risk as much as possible. And we mitigate this risk so that we don't have an accident where someone adds a reporter to a group chat. One of the ways that we mitigate this is by requiring only certain specified devices be used to transmit classified information and not our personal devices, because you can't accidentally add someone that's not supposed to, like, you can't accidentally add a reporter on your government phone because you don't add them to your government phone.
Yes.
I one thing I have to make abundantly clear is, like, does anybody else realize, like, how bad this situation is, that now our own allies don't even actually want to share information with us because they don't trust us anymore? I mean, that is
Who's our ally?
drastic. That is
Yeah,
Huh?
which ally?
Which ally?
Oh, the ones you don't
Yeah.
care about for sure.
Oh, I knew that was coming.
I mean, we got some allies like the U. As of right now, from what I understand, I think the UK doesn't want to share information with us. I mean, hold on. a
Are
second,
you
let me
the
pull-
Cool.
UK that's like crashing their own boats into each other? Oh god, yeah, really so sad they don't want to share intel.
Are they not allies? Do you
I
not give a
mean,
shit about our allies?
I mean,
He
yeah.
doesn't.
hold
We
on,
know
I-
this.
I like the sidebar, but let me. I gotta ask, because I was gone for a few minutes and I'm not sure if you guys covered it. So, well, you guys keep saying we want this and we want that. Who is the we part of that?
It's the royal we.
What do you mean? Well, I don't know. I don't understand your question.
Who decides what the security protocols are for the Pentagon?
Well, usually it's up to the it starts with, like, the president, the DNI,
Oh.
the Secretary of Defense.
Yeah,
Oh, it's all up to Pete Hegseth, obviously. That's
Yeah.
yeah, and Daddy Trump. Daddy Trump says it's cool, so Daddy Trump
Oh.
gets his way.
Is that a good thing? If
So are we
Daddy
saying that
Trump,
there's no
hold on,
accountability?
if Daddy Trump said it was okay to, I don't know, beat your wife, would that be okay?
No, Wick, but is
No.
is
Okay.
Well, hold on,
If Daddy
hold on.
Trump said it was
I
okay
want to entertain with I want to
if
engage with this
Daddy
hypothetical.
Trump said it was okay to simply
In my
give all
personal
of our
life-
intelligence over to Putin.
In my
would that
personal
be
life, that would
okay?
be kind of an encroachment in my personal life. But if there was a group life, maybe that's within realm. I don't know. I've never had a group
Hold
life.
on.
I've never
You're
had a
saying,
group life. I don't know what
let
the
me engage
rules
with
are.
Wick.
I don't know
So
what
you're
the. I don't know
arguing
what
like a
the.
Manchurian candidate scenario where,
No,
like,
I'm
Trump is like going to give all the
reason
info to
I'm asking
Russia.
these questions. So the reason I'm asking a question is because the argument seems to keep coming up is that if Trump says it's okay, then it's okay, and I don't think you guys
Within the
believe
realm
that.
of his authority, obviously.
Yeah, but
Again,
his
I don't think
authority
you guys
in your
actually
world would
believe
allow
that.
He
him to
doesn't
just give
understand his own
information
authority.
to everybody.
His authority is such that he controls what the security protocols are. And no matter how much you decide to defy that or deny that, that doesn't change the reality.
Do you
That
think-
is the reality.
So
Do you
if
think
Pete
Trump
Hegseth
understands- do
said
you
that we
think
should
Trump
just post
understands
this
these
on
laws?
I
fucking
don't give
Twitter,
a shit.
like, is that okay?
He's the elected
You
guy
should.
in
Hold
charge.
on. Can I
You
engage
should
with this
care.
scenario, Wick? Can I
You
engage?
should.
Yeah,
You
go ahead.
should care.
Hold on. Let him.
Y'all just
engage.
want a
Let-
dictator,
Gibbs
bro. Like,
wants
this
to
is
engage.
crazy.
Gibbs wants
No.
to engage with me, so I'm gonna let
So-
Gibbs engage with
so
me. I'm
Wick-
really curious.
Yeah, so Wick, you said, okay, let's all right, we're not doing a Manchurian candidate. Like, right, let's just
No.
say
Yeah.
Trump wants to give all the stuff to Russia, right? And Russia, he's decided that we're now going to have a shared intelligence agency
He's
with
a
Russia.
big believer in freedom of information. He thinks there shouldn't be classified information
Well,
anymore.
hold on,
So
I'm gonna hit you with
Trump
a
has
scenario you
decided
probably like less. I want
unilaterally,
you to-
I'm going to say we don't want any information to be classified. Let's share it all. Do you think that's
Well,
a
that would
good
be-
thing?
Well,
think
that
good
I
thing?
personally would not think it's a good thing, but
Yes,
However,
But do you think he has the ability to?
However, if he has the ability to, I mean,
Yes.
maybe, yeah, I would maybe say it would be potentially legal. Like if he was like, we're going to reveal that we have aliens in Area 51, whatever. Here's my better question. Here's not better question.
So we're not talking about aliens in Area 51. You're saying that he has the ability to let everything
Let him
lie.
engage. Let him engage. Let him engage.
So I want to just like pose a slightly different scenario to your scenario, right? Because so say, all right, Trump goes, all right, we're no longer allies with the EU. I want to have shared intelligence with Russia. And now Russia and I are going to share intelligence from now on, and we're going to make the new U.S.-Russo alliance, and we're going to start doing whatever. And now he's declared him a new ally. In that scenario, if he told you, give this classified info to Putin, would he be allowed to do that, or should you do that?
Would he be allowed to do it?
No, should you do that, or would that be bad?
Should I do that? No.
No.
Would he? Well, why not? It's the new political policy of the world.
Would he be allowed to? This is the difference between can he do it and should he do it. Can he do it? Probably yes.
Yeah, but you just don't like that scenario. What if like now we
do it? I think we can all
don't
agree
like it.
That's bad. He shouldn't do it.
Yeah, this seems more like you're upset about who's in charge than what is actually being done.
So if Trump wanted to post all of the new like war plans or attack plans onto Twitter instead of in Signal group chat, and fucking Pete Hegseth and they were like, oh man, yes, they're drinking each other. This is such a fucking great idea. Let's both post this on Twitter. Yay! Would you be like, oh, awesome? Yeah, like they have the total ability to do that. Yeah, it's totally fine for them to do that.
Well, see, that would depend, because if they posted it and then executed them to the T without anybody dying, I'd be just like, damn, they called their shot.
Holy consequentialist.
And then if people went in, hold on, well, sure, I guess it is consequential. If they went in there and a bunch of people died, then I'd be like, well, what the fuck happened? People, the heads need a roll. Like that, like they're like, I'm sorry, you can say I'm consequentialist. Well, I can in this scenario, because he's the guy who dictates what's fucking classified or not. If he deems that he wants to post like fake policies online and people know, then guess what? He can decide to do that. Like, I'm sorry, but that's just the way it is. You know, y'all argue about can and should and who and why. I'm just saying,
that's the fucking window.
But when you argue, you're saying, oh, consequentialist, but it is consequentialism, because everything's consequentialism in this regard. Like, if he does that, he can even sell it as, wow, we told them what we're going to do, and they couldn't do shit about it. That would be a huge PR victory worldwide, and China and Russia would be shaking in their boots. Like, holy shit, we couldn't do that. They'd be like,
absolutely.
They would definitely not be shaking the boots. I mean, they
would be a strong move.
It'd
be a fucking badass move.
They literally just launched a large attack in Kyiv, and Trump said, "Stop." That's all he said. He hasn't done shit about Russia. So
that has nothing to do with the scenario I just rolled out. Once again,
you're thinking that China and Russia somehow would be scared of Trump, which is completely absurd, honestly. But we need to come to understand about this. Like, the thing is, like, if you disclose a war plan before it takes place, you're basically opening up the floodgates, basically saying, oh, yeah, that's perfectly fine because they did it once before. So we're going to keep doing this until somebody actually dies. They're like, oh, well, wait a second. They did this before. It never happened before. Therefore, we're just going to keep doing this until somebody actually dies. That's what you're basically saying. Oh, it's perfectly fine to do this until somebody actually fucking dies.
That's the worst straw man I've ever heard in my life.
Don't they, guys? Don't they? Didn't he send Kamala over there, and then 3 days later they invaded? I don't want to hear about Trump saying don't. Like, come on, bro.
Didn't fucking JD Vance go to the Vatican and then the Pope died? Obviously.
Oh my God!
Stupid argument.
Thank God we are almost done with this because I can't take much more. It's about 2 hours. So what we're gonna do is I'm gonna read these last super chats. Thank you for the super chat. Then we're going to go to closing statements, and we're going to have each of these lovely individuals who spent their time with me on and entertaining you, dear audience, right? I have links to all their stuff in my YouTube description. Please click on those links, give them a follow, give them a thing. If you've enjoyed this show or if you've hated it and want to see more for whatever reason, hit that like button, hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, whatever you need to do, right? Really helps me out. Continue to give me money, give subs, give bits, all that jazz. Next week, we got some really great content coming up. Tune in for that. But for now, $10 from Artemis Fowl. I use Signal when I travel for DoD business. Anyone claiming Signal is unsecure is ignorant of how the DoD actually works. Spillage has a process to be handled. Identify, contain, ARR, and then classify. Caleb for $5. Google use of unclassified mobile applications in the Defense Department. PDF specifically states Signal is unauthorized for non-public DoD info. Thank you for the $5. $10 from Artemis Fowl. If Iran or China or whoever hacked it, meaning Signal, it would be the same as if we didn't know if SIPR was hacked. The moment the NSA believed there was a threat, it would advise full stop use of Signal. Thank you for the $10. $2 from Cameraman502. Did he change the protocols or is it in his head? And then, finally, $10 from Alexander Wren. These maggots, so excited finding all the horrible crap they can do that they won't, for even a moment, stop to wonder whether they should. And thank you for the $10. Okay, we're going to give Katyuska the first word and Grid the last, and we're going to go over there. Katyuska, close us out. Tell people where they can find you, and closing thoughts on the subject. Go ahead.
Right. So basically I am Premier Katya on both X and on Blue Sky. As for my closing statements, we talk about like these consequentialist arguments over, it's fine because nothing happened. My question is like, then why is it that people are, for example, charged with attempted murder? Well, they didn't kill him. Oh, well, why is it a problem that, let's say, I'm going to use the whataboutism, Joe Biden had like the fucking classified documents in his garage. They just stayed there. If we're going to have problems with these other things, I just don't understand how we need to like go with a system in which mens rea means absolutely nothing. And secondarily, I mean, I've said it 500 times. It's not just about whether or not Signal can be hacked from outside forces that are hacking into their, to their communiques. The issue is not just even with the people. The issue is with the security of their emails and with their devices. I would be okay with lower level security stuff being used through Signal or even potentially higher if we talked about, any sort of evidence showing this beyond this panel. If we had to use a government phone and we had to use government email, that would be a different story. But these Signal group chats where people using their personal emails, their personal cell phone, I rest my case. Okay, go ahead.
Okay, thank you, Katyuska. Check her out. I have a link to her stuff. People are yelling at me to keep the panel open and keep a panel on. I'll keep it open for an hour for $100. Otherwise, no. So you give me $100
each.
chat, and I will go for one more hour and open it up to whoever wants to come on. But unless
I
you
won't
pay
be
me
around
money,
for an
not
hour
going
or
to
so.
happen. $5 from Parallax
Yeah.
to say, please tell Artemis to STFU and work on his maglocks. He doesn't know a thing about the doors. And thank you for the $5. Okay, Gibbs, go ahead.
Yeah, I mean, long story short, let me just pull up my little quick closing. Yeah, I mean, basically, from what I understand, tech-wise, unless the phone is compromised, which is the same as any potential breach, I don't think they get access to the Signal messages. It looks like info is stored locally, not on the server. Unlike, say, I don't know, WhatsApp. If you lose your phone, you lose all your chats. Seems secure. It seems like this was a lower staffer that did this, and the left is just spiraling. They're using TDS. The first they came for Elon. Oh no, we hate Elon. We hate the guy in charge. And they came for him. Now they're coming for Hegseth because these guys are the ones cleaning up the fat, cleaning up the corruption, getting shit done, cutting shit out that our taxpayers don't be needing to pay for. And I'm excited about it. And I think most of the people that voted for Trump are as well, because this is what we voted for. Oh no, Signal chat got leaked an hour before the Houthis got bombed when they had no ability to get to it. Oh God, so terrible. If you like what I have to say, we're going to be having a panel here in about 30 minutes or so, which is going to be about globalism and the rise of nationalism. It's going to be pretty exciting. I'm excited for it. And we'll have some fun times and a lot of yelling. Thanks for having me, Wick, as always.
I will also be
no,
on the
thank you
panel. Just saying.
She will also
We'll
be
rate
on the
out
panel.
into you after this, but thank you for being here. Really appreciate you. Go check them out. Alexander Kirsh, please.
All right. Well, first things first, Wick, thank you so much for hosting this panel. This has been very entertaining. I had to blow off some steam, and that was mission successful. I want to thank all the panels for taking part in this discussion. It was very entertaining. I'm not going to lie. Thank you so much for hearing me, gentlemen. I just want to let y'all know that I've laid out the argument multiple times, but it just seemed to go in one ear and out the other. Like, I basically laid out the pace. I mean, you could literally look this stuff up online. They've had Senate hearings about all this classified material. There is regulations put in place for a reason to make sure stuff like this does not happen. And the fact of the matter is that if this was classified, and it was, Pete Hegseth, if he was responsible, which he is not, he would say this is a classified briefing. But if he was actually responsible, he wouldn't be doing this on Signal. He would actually say, hey, everybody, go over to a classified server and we're going to discuss this real quick. That would have been more responsible, and I would not have a problem with this, essentially. But because he's a DUI hire who's not qualified to be the Secretary of Defense, he only got to be Secretary of Defense by the skin of his teeth because J.D. Vance had to come and bail his ass out because he's an absolutely horrendously bad Secretary of Defense. He's only there, and he's the real reason why he still has his job is because he's loyal to Donald Trump, not because he's great at his job. It's because he just kisses up to Trump all the fucking time. That's why he's there. But the fact of the matter is, this is breaking the law. People have broken the law before. I've mentioned the people at the very beginning. They broke the law, and therefore he should be held to the same standard. But instead of actually addressing whether he should be held to that standard, instead we just went off on a tirade talking about like, oh, Pete Hegseth, oh my God, what about Biden? What about Hunter? What about Hillary Clinton? What about everybody else? We could do whataboutism until we're blue in the face. But the fact of the matter is the panelists that the opposition to what we were saying did not address it. They just said, oh, well, how do you know? I mean, how do you know this actually happened? How do you know this actually took place? How do you know this is actually not policy? Well, what if Signal actually is secure? It's not. Signal is not a secret. It is not a classified server. You cannot share this information on there, which is exactly what Pete Hegseth did. It's point blank, period, bottom line. There's no other way to put this. Anyway, if you want to have more conversations with me, if you want to find me, you can find me on X. You can find me on Blue Sky, the Alex Kirsh Project. I have a YouTube channel. It's not very big. That's okay. I don't care. I'm always up for another panel, and I'm always up for another discussion. Thank you so much, Wick.
Thank you for being here. Check him out. Got a link to his stuff in the YouTube description. Last but certainly not least, Grid. Go ahead.
Well, thanks, Wick. I appreciate the discussion tonight. I really appreciate Alex staying for the entire event, and without rage quitting. That's good. Good on you, brother. We all grow. We all grow. You can find me at An Unreasonable Man on YouTube. I generally do not stream to Twitch. Occasionally I do, but not much anymore. I think this all boils down to a bunch of angry people that don't even know what they're mad about. They don't know if there was classified material leaked. They don't know anything except the thing that the staffer did a couple of months ago. And mostly, I think that everyone's really pissed at Hegseth because he's firing people and doing what he was hired to do. He wasn't hired to come in and just be another yes man. He was hired to go in there and fuck everything up and put it back together again right. And he's tearing it down. I don't know. Of course, I'm more of a blue collar guy than anything else. And sometimes you just got to go in and wreck it, burn it to the ground, break it up, whatever it is, and then rebuild it better. And I think the DoD is a perfect example of that. I think the Pentagon is really a perfect example of that. I think they're all really, really, really angry and resentful at Hegseth for doing it because he is actually doing what he was told to do by Trump, what he was hired to do. And I don't think you can ask for more than that from an employee, which at the end of the day, he is. He's an employee of Donald Trump cabinet. So I don't know. I can't find. I mean, obviously, I think that he does deserve some recourse for the original leak that came out because of his staffer. His staffer obviously was fired. All of that sort of thing. But this latest thing is just hilarious. I mean, we have no verifiable information. None. It's just all innuendo and rumor, which, is how government operates anyway. So, Wick, again, thank you for having me. It's been great. Had a lot of fun, except for my wife calling me, because we all know what that means. I've been online too much today.
Okay, well, before you get in trouble, we'll just end it here. Gang, like I said, if you enjoyed the show, hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. I'm going to take tomorrow off, but Monday we got some great content coming your way. It should be awesome. Some big announcements coming soon where it's in the works. Maybe I'll have some repeat appearances coming up. We'll find out, right? But we're going to talk about it later. For now, we're going to raid out into Admiral Gibbs so you can see his panel about I don't know, globalism or something?
Yeah, globalism and the rise of nationalism.
And the rise of nationalism, a how-to guide. So you can go and check out how you can become a globalist nationalist on Gibbs now. Wait, bye-bye, everyone. Bye-bye.
Take care, man. Take care, everybody.
Okay.
Later, guys. What can I say? I thought I saw Grumpelstiltskin wander in. It's too bad he wasn't here earlier. Cleaner 409. I couldn't, honestly, you were giving a lot of great information down there, but I just could not. I couldn't really like pay attention to it. Um, but man, this is what we're up against, guys. That is the left right there. Don't even understand the difference between phones and servers and skiffs. They kept repeating skiff until I just about lost my fucking mind. So it's crazy, right? It's just nuts. Anyway, I think I got across what I wanted to. It was, the funny thing is all of the logical fallacies committed there. I mean, I counted all of them. So, oh, you were over there fucking with him in the chat. That's awesome. I can't believe he didn't rage quit. But that's fine. He's cool. But yeah, that was something else. Glad you guys were with me tonight. It really did help with keeping things in order. So let me move this over here. I don't know why that did that. It was weird. There we go. All right. What's a big ask for Jim Bomb? Yeah, I couldn't. I mean, I honestly, Cleaner, I couldn't read. I couldn't, between reading and trying to, I couldn't really pay attention to chat. I did see the super chats come through. I want to thank everybody for those that sent in a super chat. That was awesome. It's weird how Wick just he puts himself in whether you want him to or not. You know what I mean? Like he just like he's I don't know. It's pretty funny. So, but yeah, that was that's all good. God, guns, and glory. I appreciate the thought, man. I appreciate the thought. But yeah, it was something else, man. Those guys are. It's crazy, how weird their point of view is. Like it was nuts. Yeah, Cleaner. They I kept trapping them, and then they would just change the subject. Just pivot and move, pivot and move. That's all I can do. Just pivot. That's all I could do. What's up, Wicked Wally? What's up, buddy? Yeah, they can't do anything. The thing is that I knew they wouldn't be able to because literally they just kept saying, well, he shouldn't be able to do that. And I'm like, why? He's the guy. He's the guy. Oh yes, Wick always plays Superman. He has to. He has to play Superman. If he doesn't, they get lit. They get lit. But yeah, it was a good. I mean, it was a good battle, right? And I got to be honest, man. Gibbs was on fire. He was on fire tonight. Like I was really not expecting him to have that much heat and have that much information. He must be using the paid for version of ChatGTP. So, because he man, I got to be honest, man. Gibbs was on it. Gibbs was really right there. So. I got to tell you, man, Wick just like there's something about Wick that annoys the crap out of me. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, he's nice enough, and I'm probably being a dick, and like just because I don't like his politics or whatever, which that's kind of a shitty reason. But there's just something about. I mean, I think it's the fact that he constantly, um, constantly interposes himself on the as the moderator, and to me that's bad form. Like the moderator, like look, if we were getting off track, yeah, sure, but coming to the, riding to the rescue. I mean, that dude was white knighting like I couldn't even believe. Like, and I've been in his panel before, but it was just nuts. It really was. So, but yeah, it was quite well. It was quite good, um, and a lot of fun. So. Yeah, that was the third opponent. The guy in the hoodie. Yeah, yeah, the moderator. Yeah, who kept which he. I mean, he just literally kept like he would literally just put himself. Um, he would just insert himself into the argument randomly. Michelle, yes, it went well. Yeah, absolutely. Um, it absolutely. Yeah, it was not moderation, but yeah, it went well. I mean, to be honest with you, there was no. They had no leg to stand on. Because at the end of the day, Daddy Trump decides if what Hegseth did was within the scope of his position. And this is the problem that they hate to admit it. They hate to admit the fact that there is no check or balance on the on the Secretary of Defense except for the president. There's nobody else. You know, there's the DNS. You know, the DNI, none of they're all equal under the sun. It's only Daddy Trump that makes a difference. So, so yeah, it was pretty bad. Yeah, and the thing is that it's not even that. It's like literally Hegseth can say, "Hey, you get a clearance," and you have a clearance. So, you know. But guys, I'm going to send you over to Rob Noor. I've got to get inside, hang out with my wife. It is it is technically my one of my nights off, and I want to go hang out with the wife and kids. Tell Rob Noor I sent you, and as always, guys, be cool. Wear glasses if you need them. You're all awesome. And go hang out with Rob Noor. Get off my